Today we are doing a special comparison, looking at the three big German premium brands and deciding between their top luxury sedan and their top luxury SUV, meaning Mercedes S-Class versus Mercedes GLS, BMW 7 Series versus BMW X7, and Audi A8 versus Audi Q8. Yes, you've seen and heard, the Q7 would be size-wise more correspondent to the X7 and the GLS. However, at Audi, they put the Q8 as their flagship SUV. Also, you just hear it, A8, Q8, the number fits. That's how they position it. So which one would I actually take between sedan and SUV in this top segment? And also, which brand product would I go for and why? Join us for this comparison and also tell us your thoughts about these vehicles. Let's go. This is my in-depth review of the all-new Mercedes S-Class, including Autobahn driving and a nighttime driving feature. Let's go. You're watching Autogefühl with Thomas and the all-new Mercedes S-Class V223, so the standard US version or the one with long wheelbase in Europe. Here in the AMG line, that means a sportier styling in the front, but it's not as sporty as, for example, when you compare E63 versus normal E-Class. Here, the AMG styling is the most prominent thing is actually here in this part, this air intake. The grille doesn't look too different, and also in the S-Class, the AMG still gets the standing star in the front, which is, it just fits to the S-Class, and I think it's good that they kept it here with this model. Then the lamps come standard with multi-beam LED function and optional the so-called digital light with micro mirrors, which can also project things on the road actually. And here just only one daytime running light stripe. I think that's not a good decision. They now differentiate it with dots. So the S-Class gets 3 dots, the E-Class 2 dots inside, and the C-Class 1. Okay, can we just repeat this shot and show it once more? Look how the star is mirroring in the front hood and the light reflects. Ooh. And you have this huge sensor area. They are hidden behind this one. It looks fancy, but what I found out by mistake is like when you squeeze it, you hear that? That doesn't sound too good, right? Oh, what I always love, you when you have dark exterior color and then the bright interior color, mixes so well this contrast, right? The length is at 5 meters 29 or 208 inches, has grown a little bit in length if you compare it to the predecessor, and wheels come actually from 18 to 21 inch. These here are the 20-inch wheels, and I think they have a very interesting styling. Would you notice what the color is? Oh, yeah, the handles go in. I just touched them here, yeah, barely, so they fold in and out. Soon more details to that. So the color here, it looks black, right? But if you look closely, it has some brown shade, so it's actually a very, very dark brown. Or black with brown accentuations? I don't know. Classic for an S-Class is here, this bow right there, from the from a C-pillar here. This is how you actually realize it's an S-Class, and the end of the bow is almost here at the center of the back wheel in the middle part like this. This is the typical S-Class design element and the typical sedan shape. Rear axle steering is a big highlight here in the rear axle. You can see it also from these shots, and it's the most important technology feature, I think, because the rear wheels can go up to 10 degrees in the opposite direction, and that actually reduces the turning circle by 2 meters. That's enormous. And air suspension is standard. Optional, you can get the e-active body control, that the car can also a little bit lean into the corner. The rear looks sleeker than before, and here these tail lamps make it at the same time wider, so a more fluent design here. This is general at the moment theme with the Mercedes design language, but it also looks, less differentiating if you compare the smaller Mercedes sedans. S500 is our version for today. Always comes with all-wheel drive, says 4MATIC right here, has a rear-wheel bias. Then Autogefühl fake exhaust police, because the real exhaust on the inside. Yeah, but then this extended tip. I don't know. What do you think? I think not.
so far only with BMW. Here now at Mercedes, when you open the hood, pull it twice, and then it's actually opened.
That's really the cool thing. Yes, I'm showing the standing star once again. That's the cool thing here. Then you can just lift it up and there it is. And you have 3-liter 6-cylinders and also 4-liter V8. And then the 12-cylinder for the Maybach version. You can also find the review here on our channel. And then there are the diesels, 3-liter diesels for Europe. And this one here, the S500, 430 horsepower, 4.9 seconds in the acceleration. And there will also be plug-in hybrids. Door closing sound. Yeah, really cool. It has some kind of vintage closing sound as well, so that's interesting. And there's also soft close here. When you approach the vehicle or you open it with the key fob, then the door handles fold out. And yeah, I'm not too convinced of that. You can press it here then again to close it. And then also, you know, when you approach it again, it should also open, yeah, like this. But I think it's making things just complicated actually. Then inside of the door, beautiful job here with the matte wood interior actually. And this is the light switch that also works pretty well, easy. But then here there's one button philosophy. So this is like one button field for the seat cooling, seat heating, also the memory function. And it just appears cheap when it's like just one button with this capacitive function. These are better, the window levers, definitely. Then this is the AMG line also in the interior, so we have AMG floor mats and also these aluminum pedals. And the AMG steering wheel, which has a good handle. It's really nice while driving. Has these 2 horizontal spokes right there. This is really interesting. Looks cool and also the size is great. But then once again the capacitive buttons where you have to slide, and that's especially while driving. Again, not a step forward, but rather backward. The seats here in a very luxurious design. These cushions here are amazing. They are just so soft and covered with microfiber. For the main seats, only animal skin available from stock. You can also request an all fabric interior. And I also think this should be in the configurator. And also a full leatherette option like Tesla is offering should also be in the configurator, like a high grade one. So they need to step things forward right there. As for the seating position, super comfortable. I just love it. It's very soft, very plush, and especially long term. I've also driven this car now, you know, almost 800 kilometers in our test here, and this was no problem at all. And for me it's 86 or 6.1, still leaves some headroom. This is the one then here with a panoramic roof, which has these rather complicated sliders. Meanwhile, I have a little bit of practice, but again, real buttons would be better there. And another major fail is here. This unit for the seat, it's looking still cool, but you cannot move this thing. So back in the past, for the previous generation, you could move these elements and then they were doing something. Now you kind of touch them and then the seat moves, but it doesn't give you feedback. Interior overview, 12.3-inch digital instruments, 12.8-inch central screen. And this is here all piano lacquer, so this collects so much scratches and fingerprints and so on. But here, this area with the wood and atmosphere, matte wood, just listen to that. This is so beautiful, awesome. And everyone who's looking at that vehicle said, oh my God, this looks amazing from the inside. The looks. What about the user interface? Going to take a look at that. But first of all, finish the looks here, the air vents on the top part. They also belong to the, screaming out features. And of course the ambient lighting, which is, for example, also changing if you control temperature, like here warmer, then you have these red stripes, and colder, you have these blue ones. That looks amazing. And steering wheel, once again, great form. It feels so much sportier in the AMG line with the AMG line steering wheel. But I'm not happy with the capacitive buttons here, also, for example, for the volume control and so on. The head display is always hard to see, but it offers a lot of information and even some augmented reality function. And, seen that? Yes, Mercedes star. You can also watch it here from inside the cockpit. That's, of course, a main thing always. Instruments, you can see here the blinking IR, so infrared sensors, and they are only visible here on camera. You do not see them with your own eyes. And they are watching you, they are controlling you. Ooh. Then here, the fuel economy. This is excellent, actually. This was not predominantly motorway driving with cruise control. And that would mean 9 liters per kilometer is 26 mpg US, 31 mpg UK. However, when you think more in realistic terms and so on, this can also be higher, of course, than something 10, 11 liters or some 20 mpg US, some 25 mpg UK when you drive more city or when you drive a little bit faster and so on. This was here the ideal consumption. This is not flickering in real life, by the way, only again just on camera. Yeah, I can make it a little bit less, yeah, like this. So it really depends on the camera setting, and then you can see it also here live. This is then the map all over the screen, but you also have different views, like for example this here, assistance systems view, or this view is different, and then also the whole styling and the central infotainment change. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
What's the difference between Mercedes and BMW?
Super. Business is all about competition.
Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
Set temperature to 22 degrees.
Temperature is 20 degrees.
Not 22, but at least 20. Details to the screens. Here the temperature control always stays in the same place. That's good. However, it's just more effort to do it like this than with physical buttons. And here in the lower part, this one button, this is like this whole thing is one button. That's so weird. And here also a slider for the volume, for example. I think that really downgrades the otherwise fantastic interior indeed. Here the software, you can see here the Apple CarPlay integration, and the sound system here, Burmester sound system, is really amazing. When you pump it up really loud, yaw, and then also have good bass and so on, you really feel it in in your feet actually down there. This is so amazing, so a great sound system, really a big fan of it. Then you can go back to the Mercedes menu with the home screen, it looks like this, and the GPS is right here. And it's also, let's say, somewhat responsive enough, and also has good route guidance. I tested that yesterday on the motorway, so also had a good rerouting and so on. So I'm actually then happy with that. So most of the time I'll probably use the car internal GPS and then the Apple CarPlay system. Other interesting features are for sure here comfort, because there you can pick different massage, and the wave massage is my very favorite one. Also put it to intensive, and then it really goes like in these dots here from the top part, not sure if you can hear that on the microphone, to the lower part, and also really on the seating area. This is really amazing. And the ambient lighting, another favorite feature of course, where you can really set the different colors and so on. You can also see them here on the top right there. Red maybe, yes, it's, oh, there's pink style, yeah, it's more red here because of the AMG. Maybe you can also pick multicolor, then it has kind of dissolving into the right doors and so on and so on. And brightness, of course, always all the way up. Oh, and that's nice here, look at that. The visor, sun visor, is kind of double. You can fold down this, and then you have here and here actually. Yeah, including this annoying warning sign, but it's mandatory. In the lower area, you can slide this one open, adaptive cup holders, but they work for very big bottles. For taller bottles, they wobble and around these bottles, so not ideal. Then two USB-C chargers, smartphone inductive charging, but it's like way deep in there, so not the most practical solution. So in this case, then schmoozy's hidden there. And here's another area to put things actually, like a microfiber towel. And then you can have this split opening here, two more USB-C charging, and also another inductive charging mat. Rear seating area also looks amazing, same seat structure with the quilting. And then we also have the rear seat entertainment, but not so sure about crash safety for these. Definitely better without then. And then there's also another tablet here in the middle part. However, you can get a 4-seater with a fixed middle console, or this one here. This is the 5-seater version, which has the possibility to make it 5 seats or then fold down this console. And at the inside of the rear passenger door, you can press this button, and then that front seat moves like this forward. It takes a while, it goes also a little bit more upward. For the driver then, it does block the view to the right front, so that is a safety issue indeed for the chauffeur. But, well, here, that's then all about the comfort right here. Look at that leg room that is building up there. And also then here, the footrest is right here
for most comfort.
And then it looks like this, so super relaxing. However, with one with A6 or 6 with 1, you can not fully stretch your legs. You need to be like 180 or 5'9". Then you can also really fully stretch your legs. Or another trick is to be like a little bit sideways. Then it's also better. But I mean, nevertheless, it's very nice to relax right here and do something else. Just have that enormous space. And then again, you can make it 5 to 4-seater and have another cubby hole right here with USB-C charging, and also in the lower part you have more USB-C and also HDMI control, so you can have some interface for the screens and so on. So this is a very cool atmosphere, and the rear cushions here, just again, amazing, super comfortable. My favorite feature of this vehicle actually. And now the rear ones here can also be heated. And as you can see here, there's ventilation for the rear seats and heating, and also at the same time, for what is that? Well, for example, it's winter time and you got wet in rain or something, then you can dry and be warm at the same time. And from here you can also control that rear shade.
Well, on this tablet here in the rear, you can pick the massage functions for the rear seats. However, the wave massage for the front seats is not available here in the rear, but yeah, at least we have some other possibilities, and you can control right and left, and this is also really sophisticated.
And you can also control it here, right there on the screen is also touch. And now welcome to Thomas's passive driving lounge, being chauffeured. Cornelius was so nice to do it here today, because we always take your feedback seriously. You want to see when we review a luxury sedan class, always show me being driven. And of course the first thing I would do right here is activate this lying position, and just one press of a button right here. And I mean, but already the normal position is super comfortable here in that seat. This is of course always spectacular to see how it moves forward and upward and so on. It does block the view for Cornelius then a little bit to the right front, but yeah, here then it's about the VIP being chauffeured right here. And I was just driving in the Audi A8 in the rear, and I really have to say the seat here is way more plush. So even without this function here, of course in the A8L you also have this kind of chauffeur function, but the seating itself I feel is more comfortable here with the S-Class. And my shoes are gladly clean, so I can also put them on here. But yeah, even in the Maybach I cannot stretch my legs completely, so but still, I mean, it's a very comfortable position here, really relaxing. And now being on the motorway zone, I could take out my my smartphone and check some emails, or for example, or just relax a little bit. It's a little bit hot today. I can activate the seat cooling here. Ambient lighting is also followed right here, and I also have the shade right here. So oh, that's the shade. It's the upper shade here. And then here I have the control for the rear shade behind me, that one. See here? Yeah, here we go. And I can also lower these shades here in the side windows. But yeah, actually to have some more privacy and a little bit less impact from the sun, that's of course a good idea. Middle console, I can fold down here for that screen, because when it's like this, I cannot reach the screen right there, without leaning forward all the way. So that's actually then a practical thing to have. So now I got the tablet running. I have basically all the functions mirrored. I have there also in the front. Then I can also activate the different massage forms. For example, here on the activating massage, and wow, that's really so relaxing. It's a very, very sophisticated massage. That's what I really fancy. So yeah, massage function is probably the thing that I would do most of the time in here with this tablet in my hand. Or maybe also change a little bit of the ambient lighting or so on from here. So at least from here, when you play around with the ambient lighting right here, then you're not distracted as the driver is, and then you can just enjoy the different colors here. I mean, these cushions here are so comfortable, and they can also be heated in the rear. That's of course another great comfortable feature. Suspension-wise, also the S-Class has the most plush air suspension, I would say, if you also compare Audi A8 and BMW 7 Series. So yeah, I think for the rear passenger, the S-Class really leads it, because the other ones, BMW 7 Series and Audi A8, are more fun to drive yourself. But the S-Class is better when being driven. trunk space is 550 liters or 12 cubic feet, and the length here is almost 120 in meters or 47 inches. And you see here, vertical wave for the cabin trolley is actually no problem. And loading things through actually just works via this middle ski hatch. You have to open it from the rear and like twice, and here like, hello. Oh, and then it stays open. That's a cool feature. Oh, and then through the ski hatch, you directly look through the infotainment system. Wow, that's an amazing perspective, isn't it? Just found out about that. Super interesting. Hey, welcome at night. And what a great song. What a great song. Gotta check this out here. Maybe watch a YouTube review. Just Google it. Google it? YouTube, search it on YouTube. Yeah. So, but we want to experience the car, and of course don't want to get any copyright issues with the automatic recognition of songs and so on. This is original Thomas Driving Lounge here at night with the Mercedes S-Class S500, around 430 horsepower from this 3-liter inline 6-cylinder, and this also has mild hybrid technology here now. So when I'm on the brakes, this EQ charge meter goes up, and so I can regenerate some of the power back again. This helps the fuel economy, and you can drive this car actually, very efficient. So my best result for long-term motorway driving is indeed some 9 liters and more kilometers, which is then some 30 mpg. That's excellent for this kind of engine, for this kind of size. Of course, if you have more city traffic, then it's more going, oh, look at that, the adaptive light, the digital light is already active. Oh, it's also illuminating the speed camera. Very dangerous at night, you cannot see it before. Wow, it begins here directly with spectacular action. You can see here how the left and right is illuminated, and then cars in front of me are being spared out, that they are actually not being blinded by the light. So that's a great feature indeed, and it's just done automatically, and we will more and more experience. We're going way through the dark into the countryside that we can see more of that light. And I mean, from both cameras, I mounted this camera here today a little bit more behind, that you can also see this area here to the right, how it looks so cool when it's illuminated at night, and even continue further onto the rear seating. This is actually one of my favorite features, both in the new S-Class and also in the Mercedes EQS, that they look so extremely stunning at night. This brings so much more emotion to it, and I just love driving this car at night. The standard air suspension is set on such a soft tone that you really still feel that's an air suspension. And then you put on your favorite songs, put on your favorite ambient lighting, and you can just really flow through the night, I would call it that way. It's really excellent. Steering input is also very natural, I like that. So you don't have to steer too much. It's not super progressive though, but it feels very natural. And here with the AMG line steering wheel, the car is indeed better to control and feels sportier just by this smaller size steering wheel. I really do prefer that. So that would be my number one reason to go for the AMG line, that you get this steering wheel. Both have the BS capacitive buttons on the steering wheel anyway, so then at least you can pick the sportier one and not the one with the, I always call it with the famous slot. You heard me? Slot design. It also has a slot design here, this one, but the other one has a slottier design? Can I call it that way? Wow, that looks amazing now in this camera, right? Wow. I mean, I see the picture myself. Wow, this is slow. Then here, traffic light view, red traffic light. There is, you can see here the red traffic light. Because sometimes it can happen when you're standing, in a critical situation towards the traffic light, you cannot see it. Then you see it here on the screen. At first, I was thinking this is a really lazy feature, but there are some situations where it is indeed really useful. When we're driving up here now, I can put it to the sport mode, and we can also hear something more from the engine, but it's really, the damping is really subtle and such a good insulation from the vehicle. You probably hear it. You almost hear nothing from the outside. That's just fantastic with this vehicle. And there are a lot of things we can play around with, especially at night here in the infotainment system. This always has to be said. You know, there comes now a big disclaimer. Do not do it while driving. I'm not a good example what I'm doing right now. I have some practice doing it. And I really try to focus still on the road. I mean, yeah, but it's always somewhat dangerous to play around with that screen. That's always the thing why I also prefer manual climate knobs. At least they stay in the same place here all the time. And I can show you when I'm changing the temperature. You know, it's getting a little bit colder outside now, though it has been a warm and nice day. Here, when I put it warmer now, we have this. I mean, it goes all the way into the doors. It looks so amazing. When I want it colder again, the same thing happens then with the blue light, no matter which light I have initially set it to. And this is still also one of my favorite emotional features. And it's not such a complicated move to program that, but it's such a great idea. So whoever had that idea, I mean, I know a lot of Mercedes engineers are always watching, so greetings to you also as well. Here and then they ask me about certain things I didn't review. I asked them actually about certain things they built. And so there's also a very good and interesting exchange, and also a way that when you write comments about this vehicle here, I can transport these comments through to the engineers, and they also read it in the comments themselves. And so indeed it has, when you comment on this video, then it can really have an effect, for example, on the facelift of this vehicle, what can be made better and what needs to be corrected or something, or improved and so on. And this is just fantastic that it works this way, you know, nowadays. And of course, everything also thanks to our great community we have here in Autogefühl, such, you know, positive and constructive feedback discussion here always. People who are really car enthusiasts enjoy the stuff we're doing here at this moment the same way as I do. That's why we are all here, because we share this common passion. That's what I also love about, you know, my job here, and especially with you guys in the community. Well, now we're all dark here. It looks so amazing, you know, this shot, and of course this as well. And here, now you can see once again the digital light. Now we have like full power, full throttle in the front, full light throttle. Wow. This goes so far, and I mean, you know, this reflective layers here on the signs. It reflects so much, and I almost say like it reflects too much actually. Now this hairpin corner that's coming ahead. That looks also really very well illuminated. See how there it builds up again. Wow. That actually, you seen that? There, it saved some parts out. Interesting. Maybe that's because of, it's maybe thinking like, oh, there's, when something is reflecting, that might be a car or something. That could be. Wow, have you seen that? There were parked car at the side of the roads, and the lights spared out the vehicles which were parked at the side of the road. That's super interesting, and you only experience that really when you do such an extensive night drive. And I really this time, you know, like took a lot of time with this vehicle, drove it almost like 1,000 kilometers now, that they could really share, you know, even more experience with you. We have almost full moon, so this is like a really moody night ride we have here. And we have the colors here for the ambient lighting, and we have also the brightness effect. And you can not tune it all the way up, or I can tune it all the way down. Look at that, how it looks like here. Look at that! I'm disappeared. And now you see, like, this is the huge difference. This would be the vehicle without any ambient lighting. And we know a lot of vehicles that do not have that. Look at that, what a difference it's make. And like half, it's already like, wow, amazing. And let's see the difference. Full off. So I'm intentionally driving very slow now, just, you know, for safety precautions. And then all the way up. Oh, no! Yeah, that's what happens. What happened there, you know? Did I I have no idea what the... Okay, brightness, here we go. Full off, And now, let's move it full on. Yeah. Energize. But, oh, we have changed the color. So monochrome colors. This is my, like, ocean blue is really, oh, there's a multicolor, like this. So you can pick the individual. This is like, like a circus, Here you could also go, for example, for a green one, like this. Fits it when I'm driving a little bit slowly, more efficient. Maybe more on this spectrum here. I mean, it all looks somewhat amazing. Or more like pink. This looks, oh, that's deer. Oh, sweet. A little one, actually. Very slowly now. I've seen the light here building up, so it jumped off the road. So especially like in nighttime, of course, we have to be even more precautious here in the countryside routes. Wow, this is really, there it is. I hope you can really see that very well on camera. How it sometimes closes and then builds up like a cascade once again to have the full lighting. This is really spectacular. And this looks also amazing. Or what I also really like is here this, some kind of purple color. I think this, this purple color always looks so, like so special, that it would be something unique. That's, I think, the thing of that. So, or maybe like a little bit more in the bluish tone, like this one, This is more like a purple style. I think it also looks really amazing. And let's go to the multicolor mode. There you can see actually that you see you have here like a dissolve from the middle part, then through the outside parts, left and right. This looks also really, really spectacular. I mean, you don't even know where to look at, like ambient lighting, infotainment screen, how the light is being built up and back again. When we have lanterns on the street, there it is, Then it goes back again, so you're like, okay, we're in like the rural side, there's lanterns, and maybe like people, other cars around. And there it is, lanterns are gone, full light throttle, automatically again, and this is really cool. And because it can really take off some of the individual pixels from that, individual LEDs. And this one is even working here with this, with these micro mirrors, which can serve as projectors even. So in future scenarios, something can be projected onto the road for us, for example. You can so individualize the light that you're not blinding others. And I mean, I remember, especially like from the most recent Land Rovers, like or Range Rover Velar or something, with the automatic headlamps with high beam. The function was working, but it was blinding all cars all over the place. And I always got reactions like from people like, "What are you doing?" It's like, sorry, it's a car. It's to be done automatically. So I always had to deactivate that function in the Velar. Because so many people were like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? You're absolutely blinding us." And I was like, "What are these?" Okay, they're complaining because of the light. That was very interesting. So here we go now again. The light should build up. There it is, and then full light throttle. Meanwhile, we have other. Whoa, that looks fancy, like with the contrast to the top and the bottom. That looks really fancy. This one. Jungle green. Venice pink. I mean, this is also wow. And then driving with that one through Venice. Yeah, Malibu sunset. This is also really amazing, right? Really a way to be back in the States as well. As soon as Corona regulations allow it. Wow, and this is also really, I love this ambient. When it's more multicolor, it's even more spectacular. And let's just use it now, because we're right here at the motorway, have it on multicolor, and we'll do it to sports mode. And why not do it sports plus, for the sake of fun and this multicolor lighting. Let's go 50 kilometers an hour and accelerate it out. Let's go. That's 200, 125 miles an hour. Wow. And how silent the car is just amazing. That is just amazing. And how well the car is to control, and look how far we can see ahead with this light. That's really amazing. Sports Plus mode here. Suspension is also a little bit stiffer. I have more control of the vehicle, and it's definitely one of the best silent cars on the road. So well insulated now on the brakes, and considering it's such a heavy car, still feels very good and controlled while braking. It is not the sportiest sedan, so BMW 7 Series or an Audi A8 do feel way sportier. Indeed, yes. So that's the question what you prefer. Here in the S-Class, the special thing is that you still get this carpet-alike driving feeling. That's also, I think, a really cool thing to have. Malibu Sunset another time, like this. And then we have these energizing comfort features. This is also interesting. So they combine actually like the vents, climatization, and ambient lighting for driver. Or why is it separated? This is like refresh now. Then we also have the animation here in the screen, and I also feel like it's also using this scent machine, perfume machine, which can be quite annoying at times. Oh, that's like a vehicle fail. Now I have also this kind of perfume scent, and I also have a massage now, like a vibrating massage in the seat. Very interesting. So this is kind of to waken me up a little bit. Oh, and then the seat ventilation is also on. That's interesting. Wow, very cool function. So interesting to have these different schemes. And this is then really to make like, Thomas, don't sleep yet. Let's wake it up. I mean, we have almost midnight, so I really took this night ride as authentic as possible, joining me here midnight in the vehicle. It looks really cool with this animation here. And I'm not sure, can you see it on camera? The almost full moon. There's even sound here coming from that. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can't see it, but it's really almost full moon, so this creates also this very special atmosphere here. So we've tested that one. Now here, exit of the motorway, and we'll soon get on it again. There's something sound like music happening here as well. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? So, and then warmth. Cozy warmth by means of heated seats and surfaces with yellow, whatever, what's in it? Ooh. Now we get this one, and I get seat heating. And the traffic light view. Thank you. No, that's not part of it. So this animation now, heated seats, and I haven't seen, have you seen if the temperature changed as well? I didn't pay attention to that, so maybe we can pay attention to that next time. Then we have vitality, provided by stimulating light and stimulating light. What's that supposed to mean? Let's see. Whoa. Interesting. Look at that. Oh, the light is changing. Indeed. That's interesting. I also have some sound feedback, and also the seat massage is active. Wow. Haven't ever tried all of these features yet. I mean, so is that music copyrighted? The YouTube algorithm will know afterwards. I'll take the chance. That's also very interesting. So then, joy, relaxation, and sunlight lift your mood. Ooh. There are really cool animations here, right, in the screen. That's cool. Still have some seat massage. But it's still so warm. I mean, just the short period of seat heating made it really warm. I have to put on the seat cooling now once again. So that was joy. Even more, well-being. Enhance your feeling of well-being using warmth and soft colors. Let's see. Different color change here. Different animation. Ooh. And also this moody music, just like very subtle in the background. And people riding this bus there probably look over and think like, what the hell is this guy doing? He's like playing games in his car or something. Well, we are kind of playing games, right? So, in a way. Oh, there's another scent, you know, like a. This really smells like a very expensive perfume. It's a nice scent, you know. So I'm not sure if it like would be annoying over time or something, but this is really, wow, very impressive. So this is kind of, you know, using technology in a nice and surprising way, you know, that you can combine all these features together there. This is really, you know, one of the things where you can say king of luxury here. Very interesting. Well, what about training? Exercise for relaxing muscles and activating or improving activeness. Okay. Muscle simulation.
Welcome to 10 minutes of muscle activation.
What? 10 minutes?
Small, subtle movements.
Really?
boost Muscle
Now?
coordination and the health of your back.
But
Please pay attention
unavailable
to
at
the
current
traffic.
speed?
Interrupt the exercise as soon as the traffic situation requires.
Okay.
Carrying out the training exercises lies within your responsibility.
Yes, ma'am.
Select a straight posture for all exercises that follow.
Yeah, probably it's more like, you know, that we can see the content when the car is
Start with
staying.
shoulder movements. Move your right shoulder far back in circles. Your motion is restricted due to the fact that your hand is on the steering wheel.
Yeah, I
Keep
know.
your hand steady on the steering wheel.
Yes, ma'am. And
Make
can I
the
also do
movement
acceleration?
Smaller and smaller. The smaller,
Goodbye.
more subtle movement.
Okay, I rather concentrate now on high-speed motorway driving at night, right? So that's the thing. But that's
Now
interesting.
Move your left shoulder far
Okay.
back in circles.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I said cruise control, but yeah, maybe like the workout is not the best thing to do now.
Then
So
make the movements
yes,
smaller and
yes, thank you.
smaller.
Goodbye. Tips for spontaneous exercise for various reasons.
Now move both shoulders together to the
Uh,
back. Your shoulder blades should almost
Let's go
touch.
back to vitality. That was cool. So now cruise control here on the motorway while enjoying the vitality. And the cruise control is holding me speed-wise, distance-wise, car in front of me, and also at higher speeds, really controlling if I'm going left or right, holding me very well here in the lane, and also with a very smooth process. Now there's a vehicle approaching that's even driving faster than me. How's it possible? Blind spot monitor, and oh, this will probably cost you the driver's. Yeah, realized it now. So we had to reduce the speed in now. Wow, that music is now a little bit. Whoa. Woo! We're in a music concert. Well, you can. Well, it's good that you can actually adjust that, you know, and you can also turn it off. Then here at the steering wheel. And good thing is also, like one click on this slider is muting the volume, and that's actually it. Wow, I mean, this has been a nice experience here at night, and I could do this for hours and hours. And just let me know if you really like this special content here at night. Daytime driving with even more car features, normal car features, so to speak, is coming up right now. But tell me in the comments, please, if you like this nighttime driving special, and if you want to see that with more cars, and if yes, then with what vehicles do you want to see these night rides here? And if we should make them separate or if we should include them in the review, let me know what you think. And wow, this has been really an immersive experience together with you guys. Now let's switch on the light. Welcome to the German motorway, now at day, sports mode. We're at 100 kilometers an hour, and let's see. Plop, that's 160 kilometers an hour. That went quite quick. The engine not that notable actually, so rather subtle. The 6-cylinder we have here in the S500, but still quick acceleration. And in the sports mode we also have some more feedback from the suspension, so it gets a little bit stiffer. Still, even in the sport mode, the car is set in comfort, and wow, I mean, this is so silent here, 170 kilometers an hour, and you hardly hear anything. So the noise insulation is, yeah, probably the best in the industry, or among the best in the industry. That is so cool. And I really like this AMG steering wheel. As for, you know, the steering input, the looks, and you know how you can touch it from the, you know, from the form, from the size, and so on. Yeah, the capacitive buttons, they still get on my nerves, also when using the cruise control and so on. Here at the moment, road is blocked, so I can just as well use the cruise control, and it immediately also sets in with the lane keeping assist, and you're supposed to keep your hands on the steering wheel here with the level 2 system. Level 3 system is available now with the S-Class and allowed in some markets. And this is really interesting. We have an EQS driving review with an autonomous level 3 demonstration. That's very, very interesting. But here you can see, didn't even touch the steering wheel. Car is being held in the lane. Very impressive. And how smooth it is, you know, like not like wobbling around and stuff, and still not saying I have to get, no, I get the information, and oh, that even went away without me doing anything. So usually it's capacitive here, you know, steering wheel, so I just have to touch it and then that's it. Here, like this. There we go. And the warning message is gone, actually. So very impressive how the assistance systems work here in this all-new S-Class, and the whole driving dynamics, the whole driving feeling, the calmness in the interior, this has even more been improved. And my point once again was, or is, the user interface is worse than before. Everything else, driving-wise and so on, is better than before. Yeah, it's still some kind of a trade-off for sure, but I mean, driving-wise, the vehicle still amazes me. This is such a cool ride. Once again, the long wheelbase version, or the US version V223 we are driving here now, so especially relevant for all US viewers. And this is globally the S-Class. So they develop the S-Class from this version, from the long wheelbase one, and then cut something out for the short wheelbase, basically. Usually it's the other way around when driving, you know, when developing short and long wheelbase vehicles. Here they really start with the long wheelbase. Interesting, by the way, that I see in the head-up display like a mark where the car in front of me is, but I wonder, like, what is this kind of over technology? Why do I need like a line, a digital line following the car in front of me? I see that car, you know, but I don't get it really. Like, that's, I think, just playing around with technology without having much sense in it, I think, you know. Well, the car literally drives itself. So this is also a reason you can relax pretty much here, especially on long motorway rides. And this soft cushion is just really amazing. At the same time, you always have enough power reserves also to do some nice accelerations, as we've shown to you. And now it gets also interesting because we'll switch motorways, so from one to another. And motorway changing in Germany is, to me, more fun even than using the unlimited high speed we have at some motorways. Not at all, and also not like really long parts, usually not, because these motorway changes, they are always, you know, connected with some nice curves and bends and so on. This is a lot of fun, actually. So here we go. Brake feeling, by the way, also very decent. You do feel the weight of the vehicle in the corners, that's for sure. Can't deny that it's a big car. So if you think about, for example, S-Class versus E-Class, then the E-Class will give you more driving dynamics, and meanwhile with all the technology packed in. So this has been a scheme over the last few years, you know. So often have we seen that the small cars already get now what the big cars have, even like really down below to an A-Class or something. So more and more features are not especially unique anymore to the very, very big segments. Yeah, that indeed speaks against going for the high spec model. I mean, some things are newly introduced, like the augmented reality head-up display and so on, and screens in the middle and some. But again, yeah, controlling that screen or the temperature while driving is really doubtful. What's not doubtful is that we still have a good acceleration, so couldn't get so fast here in the corner, but at least now. To cancel that acceleration, leave that SUV by. Yeah, but you see here, the changing between accelerating and braking again is really decent. And now we're already at 200 kilometers an hour, 125 miles an hour. I mean, especially our US fans must be like, this guy is somehow nuts because like, oh, you know, we're at 200 kilometers, 125 miles an hour. Yeah, 90% of the world's population have never driven at that speed, and this guy, oh, you know, yeah, it's Germany, it's business as usual. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it still is. There will probably be a speed limit coming ahead in Germany, and there's big discussion about it, of course. And I always say you have to differentiate between what you like driving yourself and what is actually better for society to do. Yeah, and that doesn't have, you know, to be equal always, you know. Here at higher speeds also, you know, when you shake it a little bit up, so yeah, you feel the air suspension is still set on a soft tone, even if you're on a sports mode. So you feel the car is moving somewhat, but that's also, let's say, okay, because it differentiates this vehicle. The S-Class, and especially when you go to the comfort driving mode, when you have some waves inside here, you know, inside the road, then it really goes like whoa, floating, like without being too exaggerated or something. But when you would have an Audi A8 or a BMW 7 Series, for example, they rather have the sporty approach also in the base version, and the S-Class is more, once again, the luxury comfort focus with a rather floating air suspension. And I think as for air suspension, that's good because I enjoy, for example, like the BMW adaptive suspension is one of the best suspensions there is in their big vehicles, and you don't need an air suspension then actually. But when you go for an air suspension, I think the Mercedes approach is cool, that you still tell the customer, hey guys, this is an air suspension, you feel it because you're like flying in the air. That's, I think, a cool approach, and it has to be that way. With the AMG models by Mercedes, they still pick the air suspension nowadays and then make it so stiff that is that an air suspension? Wait a minute, that's even worse in comfort than an air suspension. What is this? You know, I think that's totally unnecessary. Why would you do that? You know, then you can go for another, you know, normal steel spring or whatever, you know, or make it adaptive dampers or something. So here, once again, really relaxed feeling on the motorway, and you really can have both performance and also then the relaxed feeling. And I think also the engine here is a good price performance. Will be the entry-level engine in the US once again, and the V8 will have worse fuel economy and will just add more weight to the vehicle. That's the thing, you know. So, and this is already a heavy vehicle, 2.1 tons, and try to keep the weight down, then try to keep it lower, or at least not push it even further, you know. So because that's the thing, you know, also when you compare it to, let's say, like go for an E-Class and S-Class, you have some more luxury features here, but you feel just that the car is indeed heavier. That's then the main difference. So controlling that thing here while driving, the best thing is then to use the voice control, because stuff is getting overcomplicated here. For example, hey Mercedes,
How can I help?
start wave massage.
I'm starting the wave massage for you.
Thank you, so kind of you. So, there it goes. Oh, no, that's the music. So there it goes with the wave massage, and well, this massage program is, the wave massage is the best one to me actually, because it really goes like, you know, like in these dot waves and across the whole body, and even also, you know, on the seating surface there. And not all massages do that, and so that really keeps you fit also during long motorway rides, and I really, really like that. So let's switch here to the middle lane, because there will be some other guys probably want to go faster than allowed. And the good thing for us for that is we can show the blind spot monitor. And there's the Mercedes GLE coming up. And then we can also see the blind spot monitor in the side mirror. Here we go. There's the red triangle. And when I also hit the turning indicator, I also get the acoustic warning and also the triangle. What is this? Okay, that happened. Whatever. It's a new GLE generation. You can see it in the tail lamps. You know, they are more. Oh, it's direct competitors. Mercedes GLE and BMW X5. So both, of course, great ride, and you should check out the reviews here on Autogefühl of these two, definitely. Yeah, people are taking looks here. You know, we see it from time to time at the new S-Class. Well, but from the rear, you have to see now all the Mercedes sedans look kind of the same now at the rear, so it's not that much, you know, uniquely standing out or something. Yeah, digital instruments, by the way. So I have a clear view. The only thing is that I'm not sure if I'm like super special as for my torso height or something. I think not, but I tend to keep the steering wheel lower because, you know, I'm very well in control and not doing like this, you know. And also, when you want to drive a longer way but still want to, you know, have a good control of steering wheel, you can use the left armrest here and the right armrest, and then you have like stable rest. You can keep the steering wheel straight and in control, and when you want to attack, you just lift your arms and there we go, you know. So, and for that reason, I rather keep the steering wheel a little bit lower, and then the upper part of the instruments are a little bit locked, and also there are these infrared sensors in the front of the screen saying like this, are you tired mode? And the screen is also telling me like, move the steering wheel up, Thomas, I can't see you. Wait a minute, that's actually a good, you know, privacy mode, right? So leave me alone with your something, I'm watching you. Just put the steering wheel, like, you know, when you are in front of your laptop and you use a sticker to shut the cam off, actually, so no one, while you're doing your Zoom video conference, can see that you're sitting in front of your desk in, you know, just in shorts or something. So once again, it's one of the best motorway vehicles there is. So comfortable, so relaxing, so silent. That is, once again, really top notch. And look at that ambient lighting. You can even see it at daytime when it's a little bit darker. I just love that ambient lighting thing. The only thing that comes above that is the Mercedes EQS. There, even, you know, the ambient lighting looks even more kick-ass. Did I just say that?
Mercedes had to react because recently BMW brought out the X7 facelift with a huge front grille. Well, then Mercedes said, hold my beer, we bring the Mercedes GLS facelift. Here is Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. And of course, obvious thing, this front grille. Before it was rather classic, a little bit more subtle. Now definitely more screaming out. A little bit also Audi single frame grille, like the outside part. This is Thomas with Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. And full length here means 5 meters 21 or 205 inches. Oh, the cheerleaders here also testing the vehicles. Well, today you've maybe seen we're in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, where also the Falcons are playing football, of course. And yeah, it's a really great venue here for these vehicles. Pretty exciting. New wheels choices. Also, these ones are the biggest ones, 23-inch, really massive in the styling. In the rear, the facelift brings these new tail lamps, or the signature here in three-dimensional style. Works very well. And also from the rear, once again, this alpine grey color. AMG then also gets the black contrast in the lower part, and Autogefühl Fake Exhaust Police is always there for you, also in the US, as the fake exhaust cops, because this is a clear case for it. And now to the true AMG model. This is the GLC 63, and it also receives a new front grille and huge vertical fins in there, more prominent styling. The 63 GLS now starts with bigger wheels, 21-inch already, but here you can also, of course, get the 23-inch wheels. In this case here, with this more aerodynamic styling, this will split opinions, won't it? And the GLS, no matter which one, AMG or not, you can always get with these side steps here for a more prominent look as well. And in the AMG version, the 63 in the rear, you get this diffuser style, and
Oh, another case for the Autogefühl fake exhaust cops, because on the outside it looks really massive, but the real exhausts are on the inside. Top sporty end is the GLS 63, the AMG. Top luxury end is here the Maybach version. Listen and repeat, Mercedes Maybach and not Maybach. So we in Germany, we have this thing with the yeah, I don't know. I grew up with it. Here you can see the side design elements are new with the Maybach logo. That's very interesting. And this grille with the lot of vertical fins. It's just that here, because you need this sensor area there, the sensor is most visible here in the Maybach version in the front. But you here get this typical Mercedes star on top still. Side of the Maybach is special because where you don't see the side step yet, but when you open the door here, well, look at these. These are large, and then you can, for example, also access the rear, because that's what the Maybach is all about. Soon more to that. The Maybach version is not too different in the rear. Here we can see the real naming for it. It's GLS 600 Maybach. 600 indicating something of the power. Let's dig deeper into the engine specs. In Europe, you can also get the 3-liter 6-cylinder diesels. You can also see one here. But the main engine will be the GLS 450, the 3-liter 6-cylinder petrol engine, 381 horsepower. And then you can also go a little bit higher with the GLS 580, the 4-liter V8. And that is then also base for the even stronger top versions. The AMG GLS 63 gets the 4-liter V8 bi-turbo, 612 horsepower plus this mild hybrid boost. 5.2 seconds is then the acceleration figure. All have all-wheel drive, of course, with a rear-wheel bias. And the AMG now gets the AMG badge on top of the hood. The Maybach also gets the 4-liter V8, just with 560 horsepower, but the acceleration figure at 4.2 seconds is the same. And here I have all the three key fobs, the AMG, the normal one and the Maybach. The Maybach one is just different at the rear part. AMG looks plain also in the rear. So which one would you go for? Now to the interior. First of all, door closing sound. That sounds lovely, doesn't it? We also have the soft close option here already for the normal GLS. Inside of the doors, I like this one here because here they still move. In the very all-new Mercedes models, you don't have a haptic feedback for these anymore. Here you still have. Nice matte wood here. Then news with the steering wheel. This is like this exclusive steering wheel where you have the shiny surface at the side. But also on the inside you have more hashtag capacitive BS now. This one button field. Not sure if that's a useful upgrade or rather downgrade, I have to say. Seats in the 450 you can also get an Arctic or MB-Tex if you want to go animal free. In the higher versions it's actually not possible. But the seating comfort here is of course with this command driving position. Is really good comfort in the front, and with 189 or 6'2" you still have a lot of headroom left, even though you went for the panoramic roof here. Interior cockpit overview. This dual screen is very well integrated, I feel. A lot of stress here design-wise on the air vents and matte wood. Nice. We still have manual climate unit with nice clicking sound, and you get updated infotainment now. I feel that the infotainment is now faster, so quicker reactions, more responsive. And you have this new off-road view here, including the off-road camera with a transparent bonnet feature. And if I would move forward, then this area would also be covered with an image, just a past image, and the image around is live. There you can also see basically that something underneath the tires or something, you know. And in the instruments you have more choices here. For example, new visualizations also with this off-road mode that looks really spectacular, or you rather go for the classic stylings like here and sport or understated. They are sport view, why not? Middle console here, in this case also with a lot of nice matte wood. Slide this one open and you have the cup holders and inductive charging field. You also have the heated and cooling function here, or cooling and heating, that's the way. This is the way. And then this touchpad here, you can not only control the touchscreen by a touch, you can also use this one here, also possible. This is the drive mode selector. You can go sports mode or normal mode run here. And you can lower the air suspension here or put it higher for off-road use. Interior of the AMG, the GLS 63. Well, the main difference is the steering wheel, because you have here this two horizontal spoke design, but also new with the facelift here with the capacitive touch buttons. Cool that you can pick the driving mode directly at the steering wheel. That's my favorite feature, definitely. And also here a microfiber side for the steering wheel. Here you can also see very well how the ambient lighting plays a role. Of course, you can get it also for normal GLS versions, also here and also underneath the screen. Maybach interior, also when you access the driver's door, you can see here these retractable side steps. They fold out, look at that, opening door, and there we go. And that's then, giving you easier access inside of the door. You can see here you can get exclusive decor materials or also new stylings. This also the two-tone scheme for the steering wheel. But the rest of the differences are in the front. Not so dramatic. Rear seating, you can see this is the setup with a through bench that goes all the way through. You can also opt for a captain seat setup. Then you would have the individual seats left and right. So depending on which seat configuration you need or want. Legroom here to the front seat is totally fine, really more than sufficient. A lot of space and also headroom for the rear passengers, no problem. You can also get rear entertainment here, but maybe nowadays you would rather just put your own iPad here. What's your take on that? Please tell me in the comments. And the seat bench goes a little bit backward. You can also adjust, for example, here front and back. Also the back part of the seat also electronically adjustable, and everything will also be able to to fold them electronically from the trunk. In the middle part, well, there's a small middle tunnel, but you can sit comfortably also on the middle part. So this is indeed for a lot of people on the inside the biggest Mercedes SUV model. Here this middle part you can also fold down. More screens are available, they're optional, inductive charging pad and so on. But even more luxurious it will soon be in the Maybach version. To access the third seating row, there's a button right here, and then you can fold this whole thing. You see here the front seats move forward as well. Then this one goes up, and then you can crouch to the rear. Well, if you have the captain seat set up, you can also go through the middle and to the last seating row. But the question is always how much space is left then. See, this way I could still sit in the third row, but then in the second row, there's hardly any leg room left. Maybach version in the rear, the GLS, have the champagne cooler, the fridge in the rear. And then you have this split seat, middle console. You can also fold down these tables. For example, then you can switch them around right here. Be careful with the rear seat entertainment. And then for your laptop, for example, that is quite cool. And then the most impressive feature is putting everything for maximum space. There's a button here also, and then the front seat goes forward. Nice ambient lighting integration here as well. And also the footrest comes up. And of course, when you have manners, take off your shoes. And then you can also enjoy this calf rest here. Wow, that's pretty cool indeed. These microfiber cushions are my favorite. Trunk area here in the 7-seater configuration, some more space underneath. And then we have this magic button here for all in the rear. And this actually, whoa, we've seen that, folds down the head restraints and then everything goes flat. Wow, that went really quick, didn't it? So you can also remove this top part here then manually, and there we go, wow. And one more time, when we fold everything up again, that looks also pretty cool, doesn't it? Which one would you go for? Tell me in the comments. My favorite is indeed this new Alpine grey color with the GLS 450 then. I would go for that one. That would be my spec for today. And then also with the Artico or MB-Tex on the interior. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Mercedes GLS, and I promised you to take it on the German motorway because we tested it first time in Utah in the US, and it was an amazing ride, definitely, and what a beautiful landscape. Not the desert Utah, but more like, the Salt Lake, close Utah. And here we have the possibility to floor it out, whereas in the US we could test other things. From 50 kilometers an hour, flying start, let's go. Plop, That's 200 kilometers an hour or 125 miles per hour. Yeah, switching a lane is not a good idea then when such a GLS tank is approaching. And wow, that was amazing power of that V8 engine. Whee. Okay, that's where you feel the difference, V8 and the inline 6. But you've also seen in the other video we have from the inline 6-cylinder, it also has a decent performance. Definitely here, of course, even more, better V8 sound. What is interesting, when we put it to this curve mode of the E-active body control and dual lane change, the car really remains upright. And for such a heavy SUV with the air suspension, really unusual, but interesting then in this driving characteristic. So when we put it to the comfort mode, then you would definitely see, yeah, it leans a little bit more, like shakes a little bit up more. But still, even in the comfort mode, it remains relatively upright. At the same time, you have really good comfort. So I think they found a good suspension setup here. The curve mode is not really necessary, and it's also an additional extra. So I think you can save the money right there. With the GLE, it makes more difference. It really makes the car lean inside the corner. But once again, I feel normal air suspension, leave it like it is. Don't add extra any more complexity to it. The E-active body control has, like this special feature that you can move individual wheels and so on for off-road situations, or like this, shaking free in the sand. But usually, most of the time, you don't really need it. Nice ambient lighting here also while driving. You can see it from the perspectives all the way around the vehicle. One of the best ambient lightings at the moment under the screen, and also then here in the central way. Putting it warmer, then you see it turns to red. Putting it colder, it turns to blue anyway. But yeah, I've set it always to blue, of course, always blue. And then yeah, this is a really nice feature they added here. So sometimes, and then when you, for example, activate the seat massage. Let's go here to the comfort settings, and then hot relaxing back, hot relaxing shoulder, activating massage, classic massage, activating massage, maybe they don't fall asleep, and you think just, why don't I just keep driving, like wherever, just keep driving with no destination or something. So that's to me the coolest thing about this vehicle. Brings so much riding comfort, and you don't have to think about, what's like next, what's tomorrow, and relax a little bit while enjoying this seat massage, which is really a good function here. So some seat massage you can say like, yeah, whatever, they don't do that much, but it's really cool with the different programs as well. And also when it's cold, then put it like either to the direct program with hot relaxing back or shoulder, or activate the seat heating here directly at the inside of the doors, which is also, very well placed as for the button. Here being in the corner, normal comfort mode, also easy steering of that vehicle. So it's really one of the vehicles at that size that is the easiest to ease around. So even if you're not experienced with driving big vehicles, it's so easy to drive this vehicle. That's really cool. Camera systems, of course, as well. But then again, you have to take the length, the overall length into account, and for European roads, it's sometimes tough. You'll, I'll also talk about that when I drive this car in city traffic and so on. But overall, yeah, what a monster performance-wise, especially with the V8. I can already tell you the inline 6-cylinder is also quite good in performance, and it's right-sized for this vehicle, I think. At the same time, one of the kings of comfort, no doubt. And one more time, while I still enjoy the activating massage, comfort to sport, then to sport plus mode, RPMs are turned up higher, gears are already lower, and when we are already at speed, 1 kilometers an hour, let's put this rolling activating massage once again to speed. Let's go. That's 200 kilometers an hour, 125 miles per hour, so that's about 60 to 125 miles. And yeah, once again, I think really cool, good performance. And the car also feels so easy to handle when it is at speed. So that's really amazing. Here lane change at higher speed, really stable, good in control, good braking feel as well. And I mean 170, 180 kilometers an hour here, and it's really, really silent. So the noise insulation is also just superb. On the brakes. Yeah, there the weight comes into play, you know. So when you're really hard, a little bit hard on the brakes, and you have to keep the car also in check. At some point, you cannot deny physics. And what about some city driving here with the GLS? And first of all, you have to say for European roads, it's really too big. So when I think about parking in and out of a basement garage or something, you really have to go like front, back, front, back, front. And it's like, will I ever get out here? So yeah, and I mean, in the US at least, you know, in the non-New England states, you have enough space also to move this beast around here, definitely. The V8, of course, gives you also a lot of calmness when you just keep it, you know, rolling and so on, and you can keep it really at low RPM. But then again, it's not the biggest difference then to the V6. That would be more than, you know, what we experienced on the motorway. But if you think about the fuel economy then, here like 13.5 liters on 100 kilometers is a realistic consumption value, and that would be about 18 mpg US or 22 mpg UK. And if you then think about that, the 6-cylinder is quite efficient, and you can rather drive it with 9 to 10 liters on 100 kilometers, so about like 6-7 miles per gallon more. Yeah, and also the, you know, the extra price, like more than 20,000 euros or dollars more for the 8-cylinder. Of course, the 8-cylinder is fun to drive, yes, but the 6-cylinder also brings less weight and has also good performance and, as I said, better economy. So, and then if you think about the extra price, and also that only in the 450 at the moment you can get the 3-color Artico seats from Works, I think the choice is quite clear then that the 6-cylinder is the more clever choice. Here these different suspension modes, comfort of course with the air suspension, really comfortable like that. The special curve mode, once again, when being in the city, it's not, for my feeling, not as, you know, extremely tuned like in the GLE. The GLE leans more inside the corner, and I'll talk to the engineers and they did that intentionally. So the GLS does not give you this super leaning in the corner feeling. It's more that the car just stays upright and you don't feel it's leaning to the outside. But you know, it feels a little bit more responsive by that. But honestly, I would rather have put this car with the rear axle steering. That would have made turning circle and also like parking in and out easier. So I would prefer the rear axle steering over this curve mode where the car is leaning into the corner, I think. Also, I think that when you have this curve mode activated, I feel the suspension is somewhat less comfortable just in running straight. So if you think E-active body control doesn't make sense to go for it, I think not. I think it's not worth the extra price. I would just stick then with the normal air suspension and most of the time drive it in comfort mode. Sports mode, I mean, if you hammer it really down, like, you know, if you hammer the throttle down, you also have a very good acceleration. Not necessarily need to go into sports mode. Sport mode, once again, also, yeah, makes the suspension a little bit stiffer, steering a little bit more responsive, but it's not the biggest difference then. So usually fitting to this vehicle, just cruising, enjoying the silence, enjoying the comfort. The comfort mode is also the real fitting one. Something I also mentioned in the interior part is when I'm just like driving relaxed like this here, left elbow here on the soft cushion on the left, which can also be heated and with an extra heating pack. That's really interesting. And on the right side then, you know, when I want to use the heating of the central console here, I would need to drive, you know, like this with my elbow back from the steering wheel, that I can feel the heat of this. So I'm not even really sure like what's the use of that. I mean, maybe, yeah, for the co-driver, but for the driver, the thing is that you have your elbow right here, and this is exactly where the hard part of this middle console is, and when the soft part begins behind your elbow. So that's a little bit of a interior miscalculation, As for the ergonomics or so, yeah, I think we can easily live with that. Comfortable air suspension, good comfort also when the road is bumpy. Steering is really soft, as you can see here, not too progressive as we know from Mercedes, so you have to steer more than with the Volkswagen AG vehicles or with BMW. It's not necessarily good or bad. I found it progressive better, you know, but that's my personal opinion. Maybe someone else likes to have a more comfortable driving when just running straight and doesn't appreciate that it turns too much, but overall it feels quite natural and it's totally fine. I also have this EQ charge meter or this EQ power meter, so this also mild hybrid for the V8 here. And if it's really helping fuel economy wise, maybe a little, but it doesn't make the biggest difference, honestly. Other than that, considering it's a huge vehicle, it's still fun to drive it also in, you know, in normal street traffic and so on, because it gives you this very sovereign feeling. And if I now compare it to the all-new Mercedes S-Class here, you know, when you also decide between GLS and S-Class, you know, this MBUX infotainment system with this, you know, version as it is right here, and also the control input on the steering wheel and so on, this has still the non-capacitive steering wheel, you know, with the real buttons. I found this car so much easier to handle than the all-new S-Class, which, you know, you more feel like being driven by the car. This one here, you know, more direct. Like this, you know, at some point, more automatization. I mean, if you like automatize everything, okay, you know, for autonomous driving, but yeah, something in between, not sure if that's the right step. Another 50 to 90. About that. Yeah. That's where the V8 comes handy, but yeah, once again, the inline 6-cylinder is also a very nice engine, and especially in the US, I've scored so great consumption figures with it. Must have been the missing particle filter thing as well. Yeah, that's sometimes the case that we have a better fuel economy with the cars in the US than because there are less filters installed. Now you're on the motorway, you know, like with limited speed, and as for the assistance systems, cruise control setting here on the left, and that's so easy. Please just keep it. Why have to update the E-Class facelift, new S-Class with these capacitive buttons on the steering wheel? Looks cool, but feels cheap and also hard to use. Here, setting the cruise control, all good, all easy. Then we also have the active lane keeping assist in here. And it's not too intrusive actually. And even here in the construction lane, where the yellow markers are not usual for Germany, no problem for that vehicle. Here, yeah, keeps me really centralized, and I can really trust in that. Of course, never take your hands off the steering wheel. This was just for demonstration purposes, and I was always ready to react. And once again, so calm and collected, this vehicle. However, if you now compare it to the competitors, like a BMW X7, or yeah, Audi doesn't have like the longest direct competitor, would be more than the Audi Q7, which comes close to it. The Audi and the BMW more feel driver involved, whereas the GLS then, in comparison to the competitors, also again feels more like you are being driven by the vehicle. And this also depends on what you prefer. If you more, you know, appreciate this laid-back approach and enjoying more like a passive luxury, or if you want a more active luxury than as Audi and BMW do offer. So that's a little bit different, unique positions. And I always say, you know, like from this more passive or more comfortable, soft approach, it's more like Mercedes is here, Audi, BMW, and then Mercedes AMG. You know, because the AMG versions, they're really, really stiff and rough in the riding. So they have, I always say that Mercedes has the biggest jump from their non-sporty to their AMG models directly. Whereas Audi and BMW make it more, you know, in small transitions from their normal light performance models and the real performance models and so on. Switch to the right lane. Always nice to do lane change here. It's also quite fun to do that, definitely. Then traffic sign recognition sees it's now 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, automatically increase the speed. and puts to the speed. And this head-up display is really large, so huge, this head-up display, the projection, and also quite clear and crisp. I think I remember some GLE or GLS where it wasn't that crisp at first. Maybe they tweaked that a little bit, so I'm really happy with that, definitely now. So, once again, one of the most relaxing and, on the point, comfortable big SUVs here on the market.
The all-new BMW 7 Series in a special Autobahn test here today with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K full screen, full length. Let's go here with this huge new front of this new generation. Well, can you still say double kidney or mono kidney even? It is all over the place actually. Here with a chrome frame around, you can also get a dark look with the shadow line if you like. The headlamps here with a crystalline look, this is actually also an option. And the kidney can also be illuminated if you went for that one. 5.39 m or 212 inches is the length. So only the long wheelbase version now. Before they are differentiated in short wheelbase and long wheelbase. But the short wheelbase version, they weren't sold in so high numbers. And this one here is even grown in length. Then the wheels 19 to 22 inch. These here are 21 inch wheels. And we also have the M Sport Pack today. We see the badge here and overall some sporty elements. Here the frames around the windows, you can get it here in the black one with the shadow line, but you can also just go for classic chrome frames. Technology wise, we can have the rear axis steering. They call it integral active steering. And the rear wheels go in the opposite direction than the front wheels. That really helps when parking in and out, and it's combined with the anti-roll control. Air suspension, however, is standard for every 7 Series, and it goes lower, for example, when you drive faster or when you are in the sport mode, to give you a little bit more feedback. What I appreciate about the rear design is that they went angular, more German Bauhaus style. You can see it here, whereas more and more cars go in a raindrop, bulb, roundish direction. Also, of course, due to aerodynamics. What do you think? Which design direction would you actually take? Here, the very horizontally integrated tail lamps and also the turning indicators look quite fancy, both in the rear and in the front. You can get this simple key fob, and that's cool because it's just light and easy to control, but you can also get this computer-like key fob where you can also see some visualizations and so on. And another option is also automatic doors. Here you press this one and then you wait a little bit and then it opens automatically. The question is, what happens actually? You can, by the way, also close it manually, and then here there's also a soft close available. What happens when I just stand still here? Am I getting pushed away by the door? There we go. So it stops here. Interesting. So obviously a sensor and not actually acting on contact, which would not be ideal indeed. And then, first look at the interior. You can get this crystalline look here. It looks fancy, but it also gets some reflections to the interior. And this is also this crystalline look here. This also integrated with the ambient lighting. We have the M Sport badge here because we have the M Sport Pack. And that is also then together with the M Sport steering wheel, which has this sportier setup here and overall look. Pretty fancy indeed, actually. And the seats, they are animal skin here today. However, the new 7 Series also offers the so-called Veganza material. That's a high-grade leatherette, an evolution of Sensatec, and it would look almost the same and also feels very soft. Actually, even softer than this one here. Then we have nice comfort from the seats. I feel if you compare the luxury segment, the Audi A8 seats are also very good. If you think about the Mercedes S-Class, they are even more voluminous, I would say. There you feel like more sitting on the seat. Here, the thing is that you still feel, yes, luxury sedan, but it also wants to be a driver's car at the same time. But will this work? We'll find out in the driving part. Am I tall enough? Well, is the car tall enough? Here, 189 or 6'2", that still leaves a lot of headroom. And this is then the panoramic roof. However, it's not one you can open. The only thing that you can do is put the shade. Closing the doors also works automatically. When I hit this button here, then magic. Thanks to the inspiration of the Tesla Model X, we can just hit the brake.
Interior cockpit overview, really impressive and clean. Not too many real buttons left. Somewhat here at the steering wheel, a mix basically. Here in the basement garage you can very well see how the ambient lighting switches according to the driving modes. That looks really spectacular. And you can also see how it kind of builds up from the side. Wow, really cool. Look at that. Here also this shining effect, it changes a little bit. Or maybe here in the relax mode, that's a little bit more subtle. And when you hit the turning indicators, you can see you also have this interior visualization of that. Digital instruments, clear to read, and you can also adjust the content you want to see in the middle part with this one here. This is the car internal GPS. However, you can also get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in there, and then you can also change the whole layout. Here you can see the combination Apple Maps from CarPlay and then also in the digital instruments. And for Android Auto, the combination would be Android Auto with Google Maps in there. You can also get a head-up display, infotainment system. You can control it here via touch, but also with the lower control unit. So both is possible. That's good. You have a lot of different apps available. It's somewhat a little bit overload, but you get along with that bit by bit. The visualizations are pretty cool. Here the climate unit is in the screen. I prefer it with a physical knob, but for this solution, it's quite okay to use. However, here with seat heating activation, it's always, too many steps, I think. And when you switch here the My Modes, for example, has also a nice visualization. So on the visual side, pretty cool. But on the user interface, I think it could be a little bit easier. This is the Apple CarPlay integration. That looks quite fancy, doesn't it? And a very spectacular feature is always here the camera cleaning function. Middle console with inductive charging pad, then cup holders. You can slide them open like this. Here, this crystalline turning lever for the infotainment system. I would not go for this one because it's just, it looks cool, but giving you reflections. Here, the shifting lever is really slimly integrated. For a 7 Series, I think it's okay. Maybe for a 3 or 5 Series, not. Or what's your take on that one? And here, the split opening for the armrest with 2 USB-C chargers. As for the rear doors, you also can use this automatic opening mechanism, but to me, just manual opening of the door is always just quicker, I would say. Then here at the inside of the rear doors, this is very interesting. You have this screen at the inside of the doors. There you can control the temperature, but also actually, here, swipe to unlock everything else. For example, if you want to change the sun blinds wherever in the vehicle, then you can do it right here. And it looks, of course, fancy, but does it really help? Yes, to reduce the amount of buttons, but reducing complexity, I would say rather the opposite. Rear seating area here with the through bench. This is the easiest or base setup. And yeah, why not? This is still a vehicle you should also drive yourself. And even then, you see, you have plenty of legroom left. This is the driver's position I am actually in. And it's very cozy indeed. Just here, the shoulder area, as we know, is typical rear bench BMW that the shoulder space here is sometimes a little bit limited. But overall, you feel actually even caged in, so to speak, but in a good way here already in the base setup. Here, this middle part, you can fold down even in the base version. This is questionable what they thought about that. However, what's quite cool, next to some space underneath with USB-C charging, here you press this button and then you have this folding out cup holder area. That's actually quite fancy. And there is also this executive version, and you can also check it out. We had it earlier, and that is a very impressive thing. You can also optionally get this theater screen here in the rear. Then it's basically integrated in the panoramic roof, and you have this wow effect when you want to watch movies and stuff. However, it's limited. You cannot just plug in your own device there and play some stuff. You're always limited to this Amazon Fire Stick. So I'm not really sure. Most of the time people will use their own devices. Maybe just put some holders here for the iPad and watch movie on your own iPad. Think people will rather do that. It is a large vehicle, but the trunk space is always limited in this segment here in comparison to the size. 540 liters we have here. In the i7 electric would be 500 liters. However, the length here is
one 15 or 45 inches. That's of course good, but it's really limited in width, especially here in this lower area. You see here, you know, this very lower area, that's just here like 80 centimeters or 30 inches. And you can also load things through, but just through this tiny hatch. As for engines, you get a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder diesel and petrol. Based on the 3-liter petrol, also a plug-in hybrid. Then there is the 4.4-liter V8, you get it in the Northern American market, and the BMW i7, the pure electric version. In an earlier test, we did the i7 versus the V8. Today, it's 6-cylinder time.
Welcome to Thomas's Luxury Driving Lounge. That starts today on the German Autobahn. We'll pick the My Mode selector, put it to Sport, and also here in the shifting lever, the S shifting mode. And this is here unlimited speed on the German motorway. And we'll start at about 50 kilometers an hour and accelerate it out. Let's go. $150. $200 kilometers an hour, 125 miles an hour, and it's so silent in here, so smooth. Still it's accelerating, and it feels like nothing indeed. So it's really like moving a normal vehicle at 100 kilometers an hour. I can normally speak. I don't even have to really raise my voice. Of course, there's more wind noise than at lower speeds, but wow. And air suspension goes a little bit stiffer than in the sport mode. Now on the brakes, yeah, of course, you feel just the weight that is moving. Brakes are good, definitely, you know, and also good feeling in it. But you can't deny that there's like this way, you know, you almost have like, feels like a brain lag, you know, like when they're like going forward, and because you feel all this weight is being reduced and in speed. Wow. And of course at the same time you can go back here to the normal mode, also go back to the normal shifting mode, and then it's all about being smooth. And that's the cool thing. So the air suspension is somewhat soft, that it dampens out everything, but it's not as soft as it would be, you know, unsport anyway, you know. Here's then the ambient lighting. Look at that. So every time you're going into a tunnel, it's like, whoa, that's really, really cool, right? You know, all the way around. Super beautiful. You can, of course, change the colors and so on, as we shown to you earlier. Wow. Yeah, you can really enjoy driving every single tunnel here. To me, the best thing about this vehicle is we start with an acceleration, then we went smooth here, enjoying this luxury atmosphere, and it can do both. So although it is this ultimate luxury sedan by BMW, it is still a driver's vehicle. And here, you know, I'm just easing around, and then when I want to do a lane change or something, it still feels sporting. It still feels like a BMW, as it's supposed to be. Steering feel is also good. No dead zone area, I have a good feeling for it. Actually better steering feel than in the BMW 3 Series, which is not right, you know, but it's still the case. Nice also here the turning indicator. You always feel like, you know, it's fun to use it, you know, put it in, it has a good haptic feedback. Also how it snatches back in position, that's a lot of fun to do that. And here also left and right combination, that's the thing, you know. Luxury sedan, yes, but still a BMW, still a driver's car. As for assistance systems, here, check out adaptive cruise control with active lane keeping assist. See here a slightly right bend on the motorway. Smooth reactions from the steering wheel. So that is also well done, very sophisticated indeed. And of course there's also blind spot monitor. You've maybe already seen it in the side mirror when someone is overtaking, which is not happening that often when driving this vehicle, definitely. Maybe you've already seen that the ambient lighting also switches according to the driving mode. So when I'm, for example, here, that was like 60 now for 5 meters, and then it's 80 again. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes German traffic routes are weird. So here, going from personal to the sport mode. Of course, you can also individualize it. Look at that, you know, with the It was first time complete, and now it's like this split, the personal color and the red. That's really cool. And here, for example, also like efficient mode. Oh, then it's off actually, because that's, oh no, there we go. So yeah, you can play around with that quite a lot. All my time sticking to sport mode as shifting mode. And so when we accelerate out from, oh, what's that? Interesting. Small construction site. So almost past it, and one more acceleration we can do from 90. Let's go. $150. Wow. It's really good. It's super smooth. Once again, it was 180 already again. Oh, again, hard on the brakes. And we are driving a diesel here today because this one is available in Germany. No V8 or 6-cylinder pure petrol engine available in Germany. You have to go for the plug-in then, or diesel, or the pure electric version. We tested the V8 and the i7 last time when we were in the US. You can also check out that review later. Here about the diesel, some say it's dead, some say it's still alive. The case here about this very diesel is this 6-cylinder diesel. It's to me the best diesel out there because you don't feel it's a diesel. It doesn't have these typical negative effects. The sound is decent. You don't have this, typical diesel sound which would be annoying or something. The performance is there, and the fuel economy. I mean, look at that huge vehicle, and we have a fuel economy of 7 liters on 100 kilometers, which is 34 mpg US and 41 mpg UK. And that is very decent for that size. Here at slow speeds, by the way, the rear axle steering and do its 90-degree left turn, I feel that the rear end of the vehicle is kind of coming around, So it is not a very natural feeling. Also, when here going left and right, you feel that the car is doing a very interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, I told you guys, high-grade leatherette is just as good as animal skin leather. Proof right now. Yeah. So really fun here in the slalom as well. And of course this rear axle steering, which they call integral active steering. This really helps in parking in and out, and also when you're doing a U-turn and so on. So when you have a vehicle of that size, it's really to me a must-have feature, at least when you have, some, narrow roads and so on, or parking situations. On the countryside road, also once again that smooth driving experience, and the vehicle really transports that it can do anything at any time. You can be totally enclosed, cut off from the world. You can listen to the surround music and so on. You can enjoy the luxury comfort. At the same time, you can just start driving in a sporty way and hit it high speed on the German Autobahn, for example. So, yeah, driving-wise, we know some features are a little bit off or over-engineered. Yes, we also feel it while driving. For example, also like switching the driving modes is to me a little bit too complicated. And then once again, they stick here with this mode view all the time. Yeah, I think it depends on the let's see if it still does here. I've seen different versions of this software. So may I pick the mode? Let's see if it switches back to the GPS. Some versions did it. Some newer versions in other vehicles I've seen do it not. I think here it still sticks to because usually you want to go back to the GPS view automatically. But they said they want to fix it at least with some newer software versions. So yeah, some things over-engineered, you also feel it while driving, but the pure hardware of the vehicle and what it gives you from a driving feeling is still overwhelming. And of course here for this vehicle we also need the part where I am being chauffeured. In this case then with the most beautiful chauffeur in the world. Not James this time. So I'm sitting here in the rear, and it's really comfortable, although it's not the executive package. You can have a lot of legroom still if you move the passenger seat forward, and you also have your control center here. For example, I can close all sun blinds at the same time. Let's see it right here and also behind me. Yeah, that's a pretty fancy feature, isn't it? Well, controlling the screen here and the temperature, I mean, here at least as a passenger in the rear, you have time to control things. So that's different than when some functions are in the front, a little bit more complicated. But here to me, the thing is that the air suspension is evening out all the bumps and so on. You can also open the blinds again, why not? And do I still feel that the car is sporty? Well, the rear axle steering here in tighter corners, you also feel that as a rear passenger, but it's actually good because it kind of like even out the G-forces. And in most cars, it's that in the front seat you are more comfortable. Here you can really think about, you can pick either, you know, because also pretty soft. As for all the ergonomics are also actually quite good. Just here, left and right shoulder, you see these parts are a little bit more forward. And then when you are, you know, really wide shoulders, that can be somewhat of a problem. But that's all talking on a very high niveau or level. So overall, yeah, it's also pretty cool being chauffeured right here.
BMW has worked on their X7, and you have asked me, can they now catch up in the SUV segment to Bentley or even Rolls-Royce? Do they make them obsolete? We're going to find out here on Autogefühl with Thomas with the updated BMW X7 here in Brooklyn Grey. What a setup. Look at that with the extended shallow line. Here you can see then the double kidney is in all black, and look at that, how large it is. Vertical fins right there, and also in here in the M Sport the contrasting lower bumper. What they've done is here with the front setup, they have split the daytime running light and the main headlamps. This has created a lot of discussions. Some love it, some hate it. Tell me in the comments which side are you on. Are you team love or team hate? But overall I think a very impressive setup. They wanted to make a bigger differentiation between the X7 and the X5 or X6 to put this one here even more upmarket. Yeah, maybe also to attack the top luxury brand. Going to find out if that works or not. You wonder about the big microphone today? Well, there's a generator and some, you know, like waterfall stuff running in the background. So best sound quality for you. Length here at 5.16 m or 203 inches. That hasn't changed, but what has changed, the wheel sizes starting now from 20 inch as base up to 23 inch now. Biggest one so far at BMW, and here these are 22 inch. Already very massive styling in these M style here. Also see the badge right there. Wow. And then the M Sport also then has this contrasting side here. Overall a very impressive look. And you can see this is also optimized for space. So especially for US customers, they're using this as a people carrier basically, or for the family and stuff. Therefore more upright windows that you really have also space on the inside. Technology wise, optional here for the 40i or standard for the M60i is rear axle steering and anti-tilt control. Gives you more sporty feeling, but at the same time rear axle steering also somewhat fakes a shorter wheelbase when these rear wheels go in the opposite direction than the front wheels, also reducing the turning circle. Very interesting, by the way, that with this new electrification, mild hybrid technology, when I'm easing the car here around and just rolling downhill, then the engine tends to shut off and you're rolling. The car is still somewhat active, but the engine is already shut off. So not a true hybrid feeling, but already some mild hybrid moments. Yes, an X7 looks bulkier in the rear than an X5, for example, because again, space also for the third seating row and so on, and for the trunk. But here with this sculptural three-dimensional tail lamp design, really nice. It looks again a little bit more dynamic, and this chrome strip here goes all the way across. I think this color here works very well for the vehicle, doesn't it? Look at that here in the lower part. Autogefühl fake exhaust police, because, well, the outer one is just for beauty cosmetics. It works well design-wise. Yes, the real exhaust on the inside. So in this case, although it's not just about, you know, the rear thing, I think it kind of works, doesn't it? What's your take on that? Overall, I think, considering this is also form follows function, it still was worked on very well design-wise. So what do you think? Do you like the design? Tell me in the comments. And more colors for you. This one here is sparkling copper gray. Very interesting. It has some kind of copper nuances when you look very closely. Also a very cool color indeed. And this one here is frozen Marina Bay blue, the matte paint. This one looks really striking. I mean, in combination here with the black wheels in 22 inch, maybe a little bit too much, but I would love it, for example, here the matte blue with bright wheels. Or what's your take on that? But yeah, this is also one of the most, screaming out colors. It's not bright, but still, like, this has a big presence on the road. And this green color is called Verde Hermes. It is special, very unusual to see such a vehicle in that color. Would it be something for you? Tell me in the comments. This is the car key.
It's actually light but good quality. And then you close the car here on top and open it like this with the keyless entry and door closing sound. Ah, beautiful. Yeah, that's really nice. And then inside of the doors, also very good material use. This is also Sensatec leather red here, soft and real buttons here, everything very easy to control, Hofmeister King design citation. Also big bottles fit in this side pocket right there. And now big news for the cockpit, you see here one curved integration of that one carrier, but then screens 12.3 on the left, 14.9 on the right. Soon more details to that, if that's a good idea or not. Here's the M Sport steering wheel. I appreciate that we still have real buttons at the steering wheel, so that's straightforward to control. Then about the seats, look at that. This is also big news then for the X7, also available for the X5 by the way. These here are the so-called Sensafin seats. They're an evolution of Sensatec, so they're animal-free, but super soft. Look at that, how plush they are. The surface itself feels really great, and they also have this pattern on it, so that looks really amazing. It's available here in black or also in a bright styling. We had it earlier at a different vehicle. In the UK is also the standard to order that. Actually, is it standard there? Well, you can get it in the UK at least. I checked the configurator. In the US, it's definitely standard, and also great choice. Moving everything forward, uses way more less resources in the whole production process, and it feels even better. So the X7 has never been that comfortable with this new seat here. This is really amazing. In Germany, it's not in the price list or the configurator, but you can just tell the dealer, I want these seats, and then they promise to get it. That's what they told me, at least. So seating comfort is awesome indeed. By the way, the BMW 7 Series, there it is called Veganza, but it is basically the same material. They just use two different brand names for that because they're different suppliers. Here, the X7, X5 and so on, these big SUVs are being built here in the US, in Spartanburg, whereas the BMW 7 Series is built in Dingolfing, so that's in Germany, and then they have a different supplier, but they have the same material quality for the non-animal materials. Really interesting. Here, headroom with 189 or 642, still plenty of headroom left, although we have the panoramic roof, and we have this command driving position here. You feel like king of the road, but without, let's say, exaggerating it. You know, these top high-end luxury brands like, you know, Bentley or Rolls-Royce, sometimes you have the feeling that they're going a little bit over the top. Some appreciate that, but for me, for example, I like a more form of subtle luxury. So not saying like everyone like, oh, look at that, you know, but more being a little bit functional. And this is still somewhat the case here. Maybe not with the infotainment, but we're soon going to talk more about that. So, look at that here. The cockpit looks really clean and cool, I think. Nice wood integration right here, but of course different styling decor elements are available. This looks like modern textile here now. Here, this is the way you control the vents. And there you can have some ambient lighting, so I'm going to show you that. Rear knob still for the volume here in the lower part. Yeah, but then the thing is really with the screens. So there is no separate climate unit available anymore. I did prefer this from the pre-facelift. And here it stays always in that part. Yes, that is somewhat helpful at least, but to control it while driving, I mean, it's okay for such a solution, but it was easier before. That's one of the things I do criticize with this facelift here. And let's take a deeper look here into the software. And this to me is a symbol of over-engineering of the software. Clock 2. It took me a while to figure it out. How long did it take you? It is 25 past 8. Yeah, that's the time actually. And then it switches, you know, like in these, what the fail? Yeah, about that. But I mean, let's take a look at the rest of the software right here. It looks quite amazing actually from the visual part. However, I think it's just overblown. So OS 8 is to me too functional in a way, or it has too many functions. I love the OS 7, especially when I want to have like the consumption figure right here, and then I have to go here, vehicle apps, and then to live vehicle, and then content, and then trip data, and
Okay, I'm asleep, so yeah, that just takes too much time. I don't get it. Yeah, however, the car internal GPS is still one you can use. Oh, it's a Frank Sinatra drive. I heard President Obama was also in this hotel here recently. So then let's zoom out. Here we're in Palm Springs. So that's actually pretty cool, very well usable. The CarPlay integration, and that is very well to use, definitely. Interesting thing, definitely. Let's see about the sound system. This is the Harman Kardon sound system, and this gives you a really nice, true, in-depth sound. So yeah, I love that. Wow, that's cool. So I really like to drive the vehicle and listen to music, and at least the volume I can still turn down, and also on the steering wheel I can also put the music up and down. And yeah, I love clicking sounds in the vehicle, right? Because they somehow present a user interface. So you get along with the infotainment system, it's fast enough, but it's more complicated than before. But what about the instruments? Then here, the digital instruments. Let's put that engine alive. Here we go. And then you have left side the speed and right side the RPM. And you can also adjust the things here. For example, the content, what you want to see here. Maybe also some GPS content and so on. Or from the car internal map. And then here, this is then the layout. You can also change that depending on what you prefer. Here I also prefer the pre-facelift layout, but yeah, you get along with this easily, so it's not an issue or something.
So what we can see here is the head-up display.
Hey, Michelle, don't steal my microphone. So
I'm sorry.
That's my part. What you can see here is the head-up display. Very nice to see. I also put it here to full brightness at the moment. And here a closer look at the ambient lighting. I'm also switching the colors through. Of course, you can even better see that at night. And I also don't dim it at night, that it looks really still kick-ass, yo. So, of course, Thomas Blue would be for me, right? So, not this one, but definitely Indigo. By the way, what I can't show you here at the moment, because I would need a web connection here for the smartphone. I don't have that here at the moment. You can have the Apple Maps, actually, also in the Instruments cluster with the Apple CarPlay. Google Maps you can also have there, but only with the Android Auto. But at least you have then one solution each. That's also a helpful thing to have, that definitely. And what I also find cool with this car, you have separate buttons for things, like a separate button at the inside of the door for the rear shades. And I can easily activate or deactivate the rear shades without going deeper into another menu. Just one button here at the inside of the door, and that's it. And, you know, I can control my seat, my own seat, of course, from here. But I can also switch here at the inside of the doors for this so-called gentleman function. And then I can also control the the other seat on the other side. So, you know, when someone gets in the vehicle and says like, I don't know, there's also a cool camera slider in here in this case, right? Goodbye, Michelle. Yeah, so
But the most expensive camera slider. So
yeah, the most expensive camera slider. Yeah, these seats are very expensive. So I think it's a cool function that when someone doesn't know, they kind of like, oh, I don't know how to adjust the seat. Like, wait a minute, baby, I can show you how to adjust the seat. Lower middle console, here you can slide this one open, and adaptive cup holders, they are also very well built. Here still USB-A charger. This one is inductive charging here. It does not have this new function, the air sucked away yet. So the thing is, with the inductive charging, it tends to overheat indeed. So I would probably rather use then the cable charging solution. And then this is also new with the facelift. You don't have the real shifting lever anymore. Pro is, it's a more integrated solution. It's cleaner and, you know, have more space in a way visually, but I do prefer the real shifting stick over this one. This looks just digital to me. When I'm in a BMW, I want to have like thing to really touch and feel, you know. This is still, of course, a real deal, but the big one to me was cooler. Here you select the driving modes and the start-stop engine, and it is also equipped always with adaptive air suspension, and you can also see it right here because you can also change the level of the air suspension, but it also does that automatically. For example, when you drive really fast or in sports mode, then it also goes a little bit lower. And then we have the split opening here for the armrest. There we go, with USB-C charging. Rear seating is super interesting indeed. So you can still here electronically control the seats, but you can still touch
these buttons. Michelle can show that on your side. So what I'm doing here on my side now, these buttons here, and unlike in the all-new 7 Series where everything is digitalized and you have to slide the seats and control them like with screens in the rear, this is so easy because it's a straightforward solution. And here, that way, for example, when I move the seat to this position, I could still sit here, and then we'll see how much space there will be in the third seating row. But if I have the seat here all the way back on that side here, you can see this is the maximum legroom we get. Of course, it's a long vehicle, it's not the best usage of space overall, but still plenty of space, of course, for tall adults. For me, 1 m 89 or 6'2", and headroom here also still works, even though this is the one with the panoramic roof, of course, from the rear seats. Gives you a great view, and it's so comfortable in the rear here. So this is to me also one of the most comfortable cars in the rear here overall. You can also adjust the back part here in the angle. Here in the front we have mounts for iPad holders, and I think this is also somewhat a better solution than external rear seat entertainment, and so, because when you just put some holders in here and use your own iPad, I think it might be the best solution overall, isn't it? Also, the Sensación material here in the back, it is so soft and high class in quality. So even if just quality and feeling plays a role, I would always go for this one here. It's really the most superb I've seen in the automotive industry yet. Here, this part you can also move down for cup holders then, and they also secure the bottles quite well, and some more space right here. And now it will be very interesting what we can score in the third seating row. But just a quick remark here, in the front USB-C chargers, 2 more, and then you also have a separate climate unit, this one here, when the engine is running, and still works with real buttons. But once again, the seating comfort here in the rear is really top notch here for the second seating row. And now this button here is to fold the rear part only, and the button below that is for the entry function. And then the front seats moves a little bit forward, therefore it takes a few seconds first. And then this one goes forward and up, and this is also a very easy solution then for an entry. Remember, the alternative to this bench all the way through would be captain's seats in the second seating row. These are also available. Then you have 2 individual seats here in the second seating row, and you can maybe move through the middle. It's quite tight though, so this is maybe the better solution. But then the question is, do you want like 2-2-2 setup or 2-3-2 setup? And this one here with the through bench has the big advantage that you can fold all the things all the way flat. I'll soon show you that from the trunk. The captain seats are a little bit more exclusive. Yeah, but maybe this one is giving you more possibilities. And here the interesting thing is, when I move this seat here forward, as I could still sit there, then I could also somewhat closely fit into the third seating row here. So it is somewhat proof indeed for 7 tall adults. Also headroom is closely but directly working, and you can see here Isofix also for the rear seats, so you could also install some child seats here. Good that they thought of that actually. So indeed, this is probably by this solution here the best luxury SUV people mover also, and even easier of course when you're not that tall, or maybe you have children who don't need like extensive child seat but are already not that tall. Maybe something in between. This is like a good use then for the third seating row. And you also have some luxury amenities here in the back, cup holders for example, or also a separate climate unit, even seat heating for the third seating row. Yeah, but I think you gotta check the options list for that. Let's check out the trunk or the boot. It's a split gate here, and this allows us a cool picnic function. For example, you can sit down in here and have a chat with whoever you desire. It's 750 up to 2,120 liters is the capacity. Of course, a little bit less if you use the last seating row. But step by step. This is like, a small cover. You can also just remove that. The width here, you see here, is a little bit more than 1 meter or 40 inches, so that's really cool. And the total height here is a little bit more than 80 centimeters or 32 inches, so very well usable here. You can see easy storing of the things, and then you can slide them out. So for packing things, it's actually quite nice to have this additional space here. Yeah, this is how you can see how you can remove that thing as well. And then underneath, look at that, there we go. So underneath
we have here a storage of that bigger cover and some more space. And this is at the moment here the setup here with the second seating row, and there are different buttons here, for example max luggage. And with the max luggage button it only works when the car is properly powered. Let's see, there we go. Yeah, has enough power yet. So then this one also folds flat. There we go. Takes a while, but looks definitely really amazing. And you can see here, this is then the third seating row. It's all the way flat. That is actually pretty cool. And then you can have individual settings here, or then max people button. And this one then moves everything up. So a very convenient solution. And there again we have the third seating row. This one you just put it up manual. Then you still have some space here left behind the seats. But overall, very well usable. Hardly we see a top-end luxury car that is so well usable indeed. The best engine that BMW has to offer is the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder turbo petrol engine. Look at that here, 380 horsepower and 5.8 seconds in the acceleration figure. If you want to go a second quicker, you could also take the 8-cylinder, 4.4-liter 8-cylinder. That is then the M60. However, this one here will be more fuel saving than the 8-cylinder, that's for sure, and it is definitely enough for this vehicle. In Europe, you can also still get the 3-liter diesel.
Welcome to Thomas's Luxury Driving Lounge with the BMW X7. Here today, the 40i, the 6-cylinder, and to me the right engine for this vehicle is the most efficient one. You can go like 10 liters or more kilometers, 23 mpg US, 28 mpg UK easily, that's possible. Sometimes even better, cruise control, straight, not too fast. Here a little bit worse at the moment because we're going uphill. But they have made this engine a little bit more efficient, also worked a little bit, some tweaks here and there, also mild hybrid integration. So going forward also in this case, the 8-cylinder will have more punch, however, so like a second quicker in the acceleration figure. However, it will also use like 5 mpg worth, or like 2.5, 3 liters more per 100 kilometers. So not sure if you want to really have that. Yes, you have a little bit better sound, it's like low frequency growling, but again, to be more efficient, saving some fuel, then of course the 6-cylinder here is way to go. And here we can also show you some acceleration. I'll just do it from a standstill right here. I'll put it to the sports mode. There's one button for that. Also go to the S shifting sports mode and go from 0 to miles. Let's go. 55 miles, and that's a quick acceleration, and that was a nice sound from the 6-cylinder. Yes, the V8 would be more growling, low frequency. That is fun. However, here the 6-cylinder is lighter on the front axle. That's of course also an advantage, and you've seen the acceleration, more than enough power. And that's also the cool thing about the X7. It is a large SUV, but still it doesn't feel too different from driving in an X5 or X6. Yes, they feel a little bit sportier, but since you also have, it's an option or standard with the M60 V8, that rear axle steering, especially at lower speeds. This SUV feels so agile and also has a narrow turning circle because of that. Really good job. And also this anti-roll control. Although we sit upright on the road, we have a great panoramic view to the front when we are passing through some great landscape roads like here. It is amazing still. It doesn't shake up at all. In the sports mode, the adaptive suspension also makes it a little bit stiffer, have more contact to the road. I have a good steering feeling, so I always wonder about that. Is it from you guys in the US plant in Spartanburg that you somehow have a better feeling for that? Because I've been criticizing BMW 3 Series especially, and some of the all new BMW models for losing the steering feel, because they have this new philosophy of making the steering wheel light, so it's supposed to make the car more agile in the feeling. Yeah, I can understand how they mean that, but I don't think so. For me, a BMW has to have a natural steering feeling, and believe it or not, their SUVs have the best steering feeling in the lineup. It's supposed to be the 3 Series, but it isn't, you know. BMW X5 and X7 have probably the best steering in the BMW lineup nowadays, and yeah, that's really astonishing, but it's just the case, and have a very good steering control feeling over that. So although I'm driving, let's say, the most bulky BMW there is in their lineup, I'm having so much fun here up the road. Of course, you're overtaking this Lincoln Aviator here. It's also one of the competitors. Yeah, and literally it does overtake this one because we have such a great interior build quality. We've seen that earlier. Also, the nice new Sensación seats are also activated the seat cooling here at the moment because it's already quite hot outside here, outside of Palm Springs, outside Palm Desert. What a beautiful area here. Always love to be back here. And of course, also Joshua Tree National Park. It is one of my favorite places. Just been again there yesterday. Oh, we're catching up to an X5. Wow, it's such a great race up the hill, almost like going up Pikes Peak. Yeah, I mean, yes, in a 5 Series sedan, this road would be even more fun. But considering the size, it's still a lot of fun. And we can also go back just to the normal comfort mode, and you can easily go up that here. S-shifting mode turns up the RPMs higher. That's why you also hear a little bit more of the RPM. But here in the D mode, it's also just fine. You can relax then a little bit more. Yeah. But also when we are in the somewhat softer steering here, I don't have too much, like sports mode, more resistance. In the comfort mode, not so much resistance in the steering, but still feels natural. And also suspension-wise, it's fine. You can stay in a normal mode. But I think, especially here, that you reduce some G-forces on the body of driver and co-driver, I think it makes sense to go in sport mode when we're going up these winding corners here. And to me, that's the essence here also of a BMW product, that no matter which segment it is in, it does deliver a sporty driving feeling. And they do achieve that also with the X7 here. That's the cool thing. To me, indeed, the 6-cylinder, especially in the corners, feels a little bit lighter. So when you're more running straight, I mean, you're at the big intersection and then you start using the V8, hit the throttle, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's something appealing to our bodies, definitely, especially when you're a car enthusiast. But here for winding corners, I think the 6-cylinder with a less weight does appeal a little bit more. And yeah, as I said earlier, in running straight, cruise control, highway use, it's also giving you some decent mileage considering this size of an SUV, definitely. As for the roundabout visibility, it is, this in this built upright style from the windows, this greenhouse we have around, and therefore the roundabout visibility is quite nice actually. And let's say, like sunshades, yeah, it's efficient to block out some sun, but I want to have more visibility. One press of a button and these blinds go down. So I like the direct user interface. The only thing I indeed have to swallow is that separate climate control. I like to have that down there. There is one possibility for you. If you say you don't need the space of the X7, you're like fascinated by the vehicle, but the X5 is more or less the same besides the third seating row. Yes, the different siding on the exterior. Oh, sorry. Yeah, BMW surely didn't want to hear me saying that. It's more or less the same. Yes, they want to be the X7 more upmarket now, and they do easily achieve a Rolls-Royce or Bentley. They surpass them with that, especially also in the driving part, So it just feels so much better. And this is already an expensive vehicle, but you don't need to pay more money to get a better vehicle. You do not get that then, So this is, to me, probably the best luxury SUV on the market here at the moment. And when there are some others out there which are more expensive, it's not really worth it actually. And yeah, talking about the X5 there in front of us. So if you want a little bit more agile, you don't need the third seating row. You can easily go for an X5. And the sofa version still has the manual climate unit, but already gets here the new Sensación seats I'm sitting on. So this could be a good compromise. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe right now, because soon we will also give you an update on the BMW X5 facelift. And see, I guess they will also put these screens in there, and then we'll also lose the temperature dials as for that. So we already reached the top here now. I'm going back to the comfort mode. I can also set in here the cruise control, for example. There are different modes to activate, for example, the assisted driving or the distance control. So depending on if you just want to have the car to reduce the distance to the car in front of you, or then the assisted driving mode. Motorway, it's the main use case for that. Here on these winding roads you see here, yeah, you don't want to trust in it 100%. That's just too fast. It's also not what the system is laid out to. It's more meant for the motorway, and on the motorway it's working very, very well. We also have blind spot monitor in the side mirrors, so all the assistance systems are not too intrusive, so they let you drive the car still, but if you activate them they work quite flawlessly, just not when we have too many winding roads. But that's the cool thing about this driving party today, that we can show you these beautiful winding roads here and the agile character of this vehicle, which is still present. At the same time, it's just a good cruiser. When it's going straight, you can enjoy hours and hours and hours going on a road trip, go see some national parks, and you always stay fit and activated. Put the seat cooling a little bit higher to stay cool in these seats here, still enjoying the plush comfort. That all works very, very well. Welcome to a spectacular panoramic view here in Norway. Thomas with Autogefühl and the Audi A8 facelift. Let's take a look at all the changes. Really impressive to have the car right here, and let's take a look at that massive front grille that has been updated. This is now the base A8, so to speak, and you have this L form, these fins in the front grille. Overall, they want to have the car standing more upright, more present, but not that sporty. Actually, they said, yeah, maybe it was a little bit too sporty. What's your take on that? And here you can also see that the lamps, they now have the daytime running light in the top part here, and they also have this new cut in. However, if you want it sportier looking again, you can also go for the S-Line. This one then has a different front grille, has a more wider stance, also a black frame around, and you can top it up even with some black Audi rings and black mirror caps if you go for this dark package. Here, what we have here, however, is rather the more elegant design that again stresses the upright side of the vehicle, also with new accentuations right here. The headlamp technology, by the way, it starts with LED as base, then optional matrix LED. In some markets like Germany, it's already standard with the matrix LED, and then optional, the matrix LED with a digital matrix function. There are some micro mirrors, and then you also can have projections on the road, like light field on the motorway that signals your line, but it doesn't have to do anything with the high beam range or something. And we also have a nighttime driving part in our review here today. And we also take this one here to the spectacular Atlantic Ocean Road. And no, I never wanted to be a weather reporter. And yes, James Bond was also recently here. And the lighting features are really super spectacular. That's why I took some night shots for you. For example, with the turning indicators, both in the front and in the rear. And also a very interesting welcoming or goodbye light show. You get that one with the matrix LED special form then. And even more so if you have projections then when opening or closing the vehicle, depending on if it's a wall or maybe it's on the ground. And you can even pick different schemes for that. One of my favorite features are these small Audi rings in here, and even more so better visible at night, that they're really also illuminated. The A8 features a standard air suspension, also some special features. For example, like this, you see that the car is pumped up. They can easier have an access into it without crouching down. Yeah, it's a comfort function. And when I close the door, you can see that the car automatically raises down again. That the car raises down again. Let's see. There we go. You can see, slowly. Here we go. Then that takes some time, but when I open the door again, that goes quite quickly. See here, really spectacular indeed. Quite cool feature, isn't it? This is, by the way, also used in case of a crash, in case of a side impact. Then the car is also detecting the oncoming crash and is going up to protect inside, that you face a harder area of the chassis. And yeah, the question is, what about, the one that is crashing into you? Not so sure if it's so good for that one. The The color here for today, by the way, is called Manhattan Gray, and it's a very elegant metallic color. We also have in that S-Line vehicle the Daytona Gray Matte, even more spectacular, of course, because of that matte effect. This matte Daytona Gray is also a completely new color for the vehicle. Here we have 20-inch wheels today, overall 18 to maximum of 21-inch wheels for summer tires. We have winter tires here today, that's why 20-inch is the maximum. And next to the base air suspension, you can also opt for this predictive air suspension that is then foreseeing what's coming on the road, lifting the car up 5 centimeters or 2 inches in front of a speed bump, and then basically the speed bump is being sucked in by the suspension. The car stays upright, you stay upright, just the suspension moves underneath you. Really cool effect. In the rear, you also can get a rear axle steering. That would be standard for the S8. That means that the rear wheels turn in the opposite direction than the front wheels, faking a shorter wheelbase, so to speak. And talking about wheelbase, this is the A8L, worldwide the most sold model. So, yeah, you know, more than 3/4 of all A8 are sold with long wheelbase. That means 5 meters 30 or 209 inches. The short wheelbase version, which is the bestseller in Germany, for example, is then a little bit shorter. It's really, you know, this area that you have a little bit more legroom in the rear. But in the US, for example, in Canada, also in China, just the long wheelbase versions are being sold. Ooh, in the rear we have new OLEDs, organic LED. No, they're not alive, but, well, are they alive? A little bit, right? Here, so you see this proximity sensor. So when I go away and then I approach again, or maybe if I would be a vehicle like this, you see here how the middle part is filled out. And this kind of starts this communication, the car with the outside world. You know, on the long run, this will be a thing in the automotive industry that via lighting and so on, cars communicate with each other or maybe communicate with pedestrians and so on. Very interesting feature indeed. And also this, you know, this signature here on the inside, depending on which driving mode you are in, it also switches. For example, in the dynamic mode, it looks different. And the organic LED are indeed also standard, so you do not need the matrix LED to have that one. Really interesting. And once again, in the dark, it looks even cooler, also with the turning indicators, for example. And also, once again, when you have that light show, even more impressive when it's really, really dark. But very cool here in the rear, A8L. And then this is the 60 TFSI. This naming is always a little bit complicated. Soon talking more about the engines. And the quattro all-wheel drive means it's still here the real one, the permanent all-wheel drive. 40-60 base setup, so you always have a rear wheel bias. In the lower part, gladly, the Autogefühl fake exhaust police has no job here today, no alert, because this is a nice graphic here. It looks, once again, a little bit different in that S-Line vehicle we have for you today, but no fake exhaust. The real exhausts are on the, on the lower part of the vehicle, but this way, why not? What do you think about the redesign here of the A8? Tell me in the comments. And now let's move on to the engines. As for engines, today we have the 4-liter V8. And when you drive it in a very economic way, you can score some 10 liters on 100 kilometers, 23 mpg US, 28 mpg UK. This one here with 460 horsepower and around 4.5 seconds in the acceleration figure. In the S8, this same engine is then spec'd with 571 horsepower and 3.8 seconds in the acceleration. Other than that, the worldwide most important engine is the 3-liter V6 turbo petrol engine. And then there's also a 3-liter TDI, which is more, prominent in Europe and especially in Germany. Of course, it is changing bit by bit because the plug-in hybrid version of the 3-liter V6 petrol engine is gaining more importance. This is the car key, still the classic version, but I really like it. And then when I open the door, you see it has this function again with raising it up. I showed you earlier. Ooh, it's a pretty cool feature, right? And then you have two different door closing things I need to show you. First of all, what about door closing sound? Really solid, awesome. But in that way here, when you have that option, of course you would use the soft close mechanism. So like this, and then very gently. Magic. One more time, a little bit closer maybe here. It's both for the rear and the front doors. Here, look at that. There we go. And then the interior itself, you can see here, nice Alcantara inserts. They are also new. And then you have here a matte wood insert. I would definitely pick this one here. Feels really nicely and looks also very warm and cozy.
4 small bottles. There's some space here in the inside of the doors. Then that steering wheel here with these gaps right there. And they explicitly sticked here with the turning wheels on the steering wheel, also for the volume. They watched Autogefühl, read our comments, and they saw you do not like hashtag capacitive BS. So no capacitive buttons here for that A8 facelift. They really intentionally stick with that, and I think that's a great decision. Then the digital instruments, Audi Virtual Cockpit, here with the map mounted at the moment. Soon also more details to that. And then the seats, the different seats available. These are the most comfortable ones, actually from the seat form. There are sportier ones which have also more bolstering at the side. And yeah, see also with some perforation. Sadly, animal skin only. They did not bring any animal skin alternative here in that facelift. That's really a let-off. And yeah, I mean, BMW showed it with the 5 Series facelift, for example, that you can have a great high-grade leather red also for luxury class cars. And Audi is going in that direction. It's inevitable that they also skip the animal skin. That's basically decided in all the automotive industry. But here in this segment, they are actually late to the party indeed. However, the seat form is really comfortable, super relaxing. And here also a lot of headroom left with 1.86 or 6'1". It's also very beautifully done here with the bright Alcantara ceiling. This brings so much coziness in the vehicle. And since it's a little bit dark today here, well, winter in Norway, that's how it is. You guys know it. All our friends from Scandinavia. Here also with a nice headliner ambient lighting. Really love that. Of course, I've set it to Thomas Blue. Different colors are available. When you look at the whole ambient lighting at night, it is even more impressive. That's why I always try to bring as many night shots as possible, when we have the chance to do that.
You can also get a sportier steering wheel here, by the way, in the S-Line, then with some perforations at the side. And also in the S-Line here with carbon fiber inserts, also available. These are the sportier seats as stamping and also with some more side bolstering shoulder area and also at the side.
Interior overview, beautiful clean lines, more Bauhaus style, German style, here with this, matte aluminum style. A lot of black panel lacquer, that's not so much to my liking actually. Interesting that these two screens, 10.1 and 8.6 inch, they play together somewhat. For example, when you are in the GPS mode and then you have the GPS search, then you have the keypad here in the lower area, the keyboard. And when you're in the normal home menu, then there's a temperature control either here with sliding or then with pressing. And for a touchscreen temperature solution, it's the best one that is available. I still prefer manual knobs. For example, for the volume knob, it's still manual, or for the passenger. But for this, this solution, it's fairly easy how you can also control the bend strength, for example. And when you, by the way, use a 2-zone AC and it's changed here, you have this, secret finger gesture like this. Seen that here? So this is a different temperature, and then I kind of like swipe it in like this, and then the temperature is synced again on the other side. Then automatic shifting like this, easy solution. Here the adaptive cup holders, good quality, extreme great build quality everywhere you can see. This is then here, for the armrest. You can also put it, up like this, or if you want to have it fixed, then you have to hit this, this button on the back side, and then you can slide it up like this. Then it's high and it's also fixed, and then you can also open it. And then there's inductive charging pad, but you have to put it like here, and also the cable connection 2 times USB-C now. And indeed, these are my favorite virtual instruments, because you can change the view to a more classic one, have the map a little bit bigger like this, and you can also change the middle content. Sadly, it's not yet possible to have the CarPlay map or something in the middle part there. And this is also the night view. I'll also show you more of that in our nighttime driving part. And the head-up display is really clear to read, always a great option, also with some GPS directions. Then here in the infotainment system, this is really interesting. You have the drive select. There, for example, you can see that also when you are in the dynamic mode, the air suspension lowers. And also at a certain speed, it goes down, for example. And in the auto mode, it really adjusts depending on the driving situation. The overview menu here is actually quite simple and easy. I really like this version of the infotainment system. And the GPS map here, you can also have the satellite view. You can also deactivate it if you think it's a better overview. Beautiful Norway here, close to the coastal line as well.
here. Well, what is not coastline in Norway? And then here, Apple CarPlay or Android Auto integration looks like this. And we also have the optional sound system in here. It's Bang & Olufsen. And it's really great sound here. Wow. Great surround sound. And there are interesting settings here. Let's take a look at that. So when we go to settings and then the sound, and here the B&O sound settings. And in this case, I rather tend to, lower the bass maybe a little bit, but here it's actually cool to put bass and subwoofer a little bit higher, because at the same time you can have the surround level to maximum and 3D sound to high. And then it's really like great surround sound all around, but it sounds less bass heavy then. So I found the best setting is really put 3D sound and surround level all the way up, and then also increase a little bit the bass in the subwoofer, and overall this then, really like club atmosphere. Welcome to this rear executive seating, really a cool position to have here. And since this is the A8L, or would be the standard one for our guys in the US and so on, you have more legroom in the rear, of course, tons of legroom. There are these nice footrests here. There you can just have a more relaxing position for your feet. They are indeed just, like loosely adjustable like this, but you can also just put them out, no problem. And here you also can have this function that you, press this button, but you have to press and hold it. And then you see here my seat goes a little bit forward, also more in the back with the backrest, and then the co-driver seat goes forward. These screens here, oh, the cat caught a little bit of rain. These screens here are, by the way, also new, so new screens for the rear entertainment. And then you can see here, meanwhile, the seat is going all the way forward like this. Also, the screen is adjusting then, that I have a proper angle. And then there is this calf rest. And yeah, recently I had an interesting comment. Someone saying like, "Oh, Thomas, I'm really happy that you take off your shoes before putting your feet on there, unlike some other car journalists who were raised by wild boars." Not saying who it was who was mentioned in the comment, but maybe you guys know who put that comment. Really interesting. So, yeah, that's really cool. And actually, you have a lot of space. And even here with 1m86 or 6'1", I can have a very relaxing position here. And last time, remember, I was in the S-Class, which on the one hand feels a little bit more comfortable from the seats themselves. But here, this lying position is, to me, even better in the A8 indeed. That's very interesting. And even more interesting is that this area where my feet are at the moment, it can be heated, and there's also a massage function for it. This is really interesting. You have this middle part here where you can then here adjust the back part of the seat, for example, or here slide it forward even more. And then when you go to seats here, sometimes it takes a time, then I can, whoa. Yeah, you always have to protect it against the fingerprints. You have here, for example, the seat heating. This is really cool. Here you can adjust the climate functions. And then back to seats here. Yes, please wait. Yeah, there we go. Seat adjustment, massage. Want to have massage. And then, for example, I love this wave massage because it really goes from the top part to the bottom and back again. You can have these different massage functions here, shoulder, activation, and so on. And now there's the trick. So if you're an A8 owner, I can explain to you how that works. Here, this is for your seat, or for my seat I'm sitting at the moment. And then you have to click basically on the passenger seat, because in the passenger seat, you have here also turned forward. There is, you can pick your shoe size. Yeah, of course, L, shoe size for me. And then you have this foot massage. It goes in wave or in circles, and you can start it. And it's really hard to pick it up on camera, but this back part of the seat is now moving, and you can feel it that it's going underneath the seat. So now I'm holding this microfiber towel in front of the seat, because that way you can better see how the back part of the seat is moving when you look at that brighter structure. So again, it's really hard to pick it up on camera, but maybe you can see that this microfiber towel is moving a little bit, because here that back part of the seat now. Here at the moment it's coming more towards this upper area, and then it's moving, for example, back here in this lower area, and this is now wider a little bit, and then here you can see it goes inward again, and so on. It's a really cool feature indeed, very exclusive. Here the controls, seat heating, seat cooling also works simultaneously when you're, for example, wet in winter times and you get in the vehicle and want to be dried. and warmed at the same time. And then here, this is then the heating for the foot area. So indeed, now, what I have now is a combination of a foot massage and a heating, indeed, of this area there where I have my feet. So this is really amazing. So my feet are warm now and are being massaged. Here, by the way, so my space underneath, inductive charging pad for your smartphone, 2 USB-C chargers now. And then we have, well, there's no champagne box here today. This would be just like reaching through the trunk. So there's like, you know, this ski hatch basically. So then also with a nice wood cover right here. And you can also fold this whole thing up here. Then you have the cup holders here, and you have also, you know, real power socket. Don't do that at home, kids. I was, you know, going a little bit too deep in there with my fingers. So, but this is also accessible when it's not folded up. The thing that is only accessible when this one here is folded up are the tables, and you can put them out like this, and yeah, a little bit more towards me. And then you can also close this one again. And it also has this lip here, for example, for your laptop or something. You can also change it a little bit in the angle. Yeah, so you can actually work here quite well. Put the laptop right here, had the foot heating and massage. That's a really nice workstation here, isn't it? I'm gonna think about this. And by the way, if you move that seat back here in that normal position, it just looks cool when things are moving inside the vehicle. And this actually quite quickly, you know, comparing it to the S-Class, this one goes way faster. I have the impression. Here we go. Oh, need to secure this one so the seat can move further. Yeah, there we go. Now we are back in that normal position. Well, about that trunk area, let's take a look. You know, this is a channel where we also measure the trunk, and this is here 1 meter in width or 40 inches. And you can see also my luggage. Yeah, these are my 2 Corona stickers. These means like for yesterday and for today, Corona test negative, by the way. Yeah, just some details here for that driving event. Yeah, this is my lunchbox. Yeah, and then the length is 1 meter 20 or some, you know, like, yeah, that's 1 meter 20. Or some 46 inches, and you can see here I also have this ski hatch here, and yeah, has anyone tested that actually? Not sure, because here when I use the ski hatch and load things through, you can easily go, you know, this and here 2 meters or 80 inches, the full stick, and you're not even through the front seat. So you can have some very long skiers, but nowadays most people use short skiers or like these Bigfoot skiers, so yeah, not really that necessary actually. So you can see very, very usable, and here the height, this is maybe also crucial, is about 50 centimeters or 20 inches. Welcome to Thomas's luxury driving lounge, or in this case, A8L Rally driving lounge, because we're here on this B road, a little bit of gravel road in Norway, and this is super spectacular because here the air suspension with all its comfort can play out its advantages, and this is a really uneven gravel road and it feels like nothing. It's super comfortable still, 20-inch wheels. And the cool thing about the A8 in general is it is a sporty vehicle. It is long, it is very luxurious, but it still feels sporty to drive. That's the cool thing about. And indeed, I prefer the A8 and the BMW 7 Series to drive myself over the Mercedes S-Class, because A8 and 7 Series are more fun to drive. The S-Class has this more like this ship-alike, you know, very soft air suspension setup. And here I think they really have found a great compromise. It does deliver you a great comfort, but it does deliver you sporty driving fun at the same time. Again, if you more want, you know, this more heavy, soft feeling, then the S-Class is something more for you. And what about when I put it in dynamic mode? And you remember 4.5 seconds is the acceleration figure here for this 4-liter V8. And now I accelerate out of this corner at this wet ground. We have the all-wheel drive, rear-wheel bias, 40-60 fashion. What will the car do? Let's see. Wow. Holy moly. Wow. I mean, great power definitely. The thing is really, you know, wow. I mean, you could really feel that super traction. I mean, it's very slippery here on this asphalt. But then with the all-wheel drive, I mean, 460 horsepower, so much power at the same time, no wheel span at all, and you could see the steering wheel was perfectly stable and it was really flooring it out. So this is really the thing about this classic all-wheel drive. It can bring the power to the ground so well. And of course, this then, you might not hammer the throttle all the way through when it's like snowy or icy or something. Just be gentle with the throttle, but it shows how well it also performs on slippery surfaces. So I always tend to, that's why I also drive really fast in our tests on the German Autobahn, for example, when we're allowed to, because these extreme tests, so to speak, they show then how the car performs at these extraordinary levels, so to speak. And in general, this feeling here is I can actually say is one of the best cars to drive at all, from the driving feeling. So I also experienced that in the Audi S8. There we have a special German Autobahn driving part where I could also floor it out. It's a very impressive episode as well. You should tune into that at a later stage. There you can see more about the high-speed driving. It is such a flawless driving experience. So I think what the drive concerns, flawless is really the thing. We can go back to the auto mode, then we have even more comfort, and from the assistant systems there's a nice blind spot monitor integrated in the side mirror, adaptive cruise control, adapts the speed, and then also holds the car in a lane. Here at the moment it's a little bit tricky because it's not a motorway, and there's the car is a little bit irritated, like where are the side lines, so this is then not the ideal solution for that. But on the motorway the system is again working very, very well. On the motorway, that's also where it's reserved for. You also have these digital mirror functions where you have like a light carpet in front of you signaling like that's your lane. But I think the usage of this system is somewhat limited, so you don't really need that option actually. And now we're driving one of the most scenic roads in the world, the Atlantis Vein, the Atlantic Ocean Road or Atlantic Highway, up here at the Norwegian Atlantic coast. And today is really harsh weather, a lot of wind, and even more spectacular. And thanks to my cameraman today, it's really tough when filming in this weather on the outside. Wow, and I mean, a lot of small bridges here. It's not too long, this road overall, but here when it's so harsh and windy on the outside and the salt water is going all over the road in some places, this can really happen here. And you here in this warm and cozy cabin, everything is soft and relaxed and comfortable. This is really something, and also looking here at the digital instruments and seeing this road that really goes, I mean, it's even in the dark, in this dark or night mode, because it's so dark on the outside that the light sensor catches it and makes it actually darker. Really, really interesting. Having here the air suspension in the auto mode, and once again, really flying on that road, super cool. Steering, by the way, is super precise. Yes, it's comfortable and it's easy to steer. Yet again, there's no dead zone area, and you can also steer it in a very sporty way. And the bridge that is coming ahead there, this is one of the most spectacular ones, and you also see that the water is about to spill over the road here. So I left some space to the car in front of us now, that you can see the road very, very well. There are different viewpoints here also. You can park at the side of the road and then take a stroll around. Best, of course, in good weather, but the thing is, when you have such a harsh weather, this bridge is really insane. Look at that. You're literally driving up to the sky, and left and right, there's just the ocean. Wow, really cool thing to enjoy. And here, having that long wheelbase, it also brings more, even more calmness to the whole driving experience. So and it doesn't feel less agile than the short wheelbase version, you know, because of the rear axis steering, and especially when we're here at slower speeds, the rear wheels turn in the opposite direction, and that kind of fakes a shorter wheelbase, and this is really easy to ease the car around then. Of course, the short wheelbase version will be a little bit more agile, but for example, you know, when I'm steering here, look at that 90-degree corner, 90-degree turn of the steering, that's really easy to do. And for example, when I'm easing this car here around in that parking lot, you can see about the turning circle. And here, now I'm turning all the way in, rear wheels also go around, and you can see here, although this is a huge vehicle, I could easily do this 180 turn here. Well, in the middle of the way, I changed positions because it wouldn't be a true luxury sedan review if I wouldn't take off my shoes, be in the back seat, and are being driven. So, and now I mount the camera in a way that it should fit, that it actually, the seat passes the camera, including the microphone receiver mount. That's always, yeah, yes, works exactly. This is really spectacular to see. I already prepared the seat control here. This is so cool to have it while driving. Wow, and I mean, oh, my socks should be, you know, yeah, properly. Whoa, yeah, this is such an amazing atmosphere here. And now I also put on the seat massage once again. Yes, my favorite wave massage, of course. And then, yeah, meanwhile I get some practice to pick the other seat in the front then big shoe size, wave massage also for my feet. Yeah, massage for my feet is starting, and then I also want to have the feet heating. And sometimes a little bit hard to find. There it is. There it is. So now seat heating and feet heating. That's cool, right? And I think I could drive like this all day probably. Usually I always prefer to drive a car myself because I'm a car driver, I'm a car enthusiast just like you, and I want to drive the cars. And this is really one of the very, very rare cases where I would say I would really also enjoy being driven for a longer period of time. I mean, really being here all the way, stretch and relax, foot massage, back massage, heated back part of the seat, and then the beautiful landscape here on the outside. Wow, the water is really high today. So last time I was here, there's also another video from the VW Touareg PHEV, where we also drove this road here, also with some great drone shots. Some of them I reused today as well. Wow, I mean, the water is so high that looks so amazing. And indeed, also in the rear, the comfort is superb, also from the suspension. Sometimes you have vehicles which have more comfort near the front axle. Here also you feel that this air suspension comfort also accounts for the rear axle. So everything is evened out very, very well. This is then the big difference, you know, when you're driving in the front yourself. The difference between A8 and A6 is not that extremely huge. You can also get the A6 with an air suspension, and it's really, really... Maybe we just turn around and drive the same road again. So, James? Yeah, okay. Yeah, James is all right with that. He's not really called James. But did I tell you that one funny story? There was one event a couple of days back, and a couple of years ago, actually. Yeah, years and days, whatever. My brain is also, meanwhile, I'm getting old. So there was this event where I was being shuttled and I was getting into the vehicle, and I just said like, hey James, how are you? Well, thank you, James. And then he was turning around and was like, how do you know my name? It just happened to be called James, just by instance. Yeah, and then we start this discussion here in Autogefühl, like, in which country how is a chauffeur called in your country, you know? And then the Korean viewer said, you know, they're called that way. Or the French viewer said, like, was it Jacques? I think in French. So all the countries was writing like, this is how a chauffeur is typically called in our country, you know. But yeah, but James is probably the typical chauffeur name, right? So every James watching here, or Jims or Jimmys, greetings to all you guys. And now back again in the Atlantic Ocean Road. It's really a short route, you know, but it's so beautiful and so great to enjoy here. Yeah, I can just say Sometimes I was thinking like, yeah, the S-Class is better in the rear chauffeur comfort, you know, because the seats are maybe a little bit more plush and so on. And that might be the case. But this leg extension, I feel that it's somehow better done here in the A8. You know, when you scroll back to our S-Class reviews, also with the long wheelbase, or even the Maybach version, the feet solution here, or the foot solution, I don't know if it's singular or plural in that case, is to me really, really well done. You know, that's the thing. It's really too bad that Audi did not offer any animal skin alternative here for that vehicle. Otherwise, I mean, I have so much fun driving this vehicle here. Yeah, maybe I would go for one if there would be an animal skin alternative. But yo, Audi guys, you're listening to this? Change it. At least for the next generation. I'm holding you accountable. Yeah, I will enjoy my time here, definitely. Really great atmosphere, great chauffeur ride. But what's still missing is our nighttime driving experience, which will also be amazing. So welcome to this night driving part. I have activated the high beam here with the matrix LED with the micro mirror option, this digital light. And you see here that left and right of the road, the high beam is active. This, you know, this forest, left and right of the road, let's call it that way, is totally illuminated. You can see it right there. It's almost as it would be day. But the car in front of us, this small truck, now also cars facing us, here is not blinded. Now it's building up again. This is really interesting. So you see the high beam really belongs to the car in front of us. It's left and right is illuminated, but the car itself is not illuminated, and so they are not blinded. And once again, I think there should be the next car facing us. You see these reflections from the poles on the left side maybe as well, and then they will be gone when the next car is coming, you know, in the opposite direction. This is really, really impressive. So you can very well see already from the normal light, and then when the high beam is active, of course, even more so. Then, you know, when the high beam is active, then this effect of the digital light is playing the major role actually, and even more so, of course, when you're just alone on the road. And then you also have this night driving assistant. I can activate it here in the digital instruments, and when there would be, for example, also, you know, animals or people running across the street, there would be an additional warning, and I can also see them a little bit better there. There, you've maybe seen it now. The light was, you know, dimmed, and then it was built up again at the left side. I hope you could pick that out on camera. Sometimes it's really hard to film that. Actually, it also goes quite quickly. There again, and yeah, they're also obviously not complaining. And I mean, I have really big lighting power here. So there's these night vision assistants. Not sure, maybe one of you guys use that in an emergency situation or so. Then really feel free to share your experience. I have not had an emergency situation with a night driving assistant yet, from my experience. So I'm also not quite sure if it's that useful. But we did get some feedback before that it was quite helpful to a lot of people. So again, when you have experience yourself of that, please share them in the comments. It's a pleasure to drive this one here at night, especially because of the ambient lighting. Of course, I have set it to Thomas Blue. Yeah, that's of course my signature. And see here the light all around that vehicle, really cool. And what a great night riding atmosphere. And once again, this soft air suspension. But you can still there see it, that the light which is building up, you know, among those trees, also quite high actually. But then again, the car in front of us is not blinded. It's really good to see it here, actually at the moment. Yeah, back to the suspension. So it always gives you this really soft experience. At the same time, the car feels still sporty. That's a really cool thing to have. And then when you also have that rear axis steering, told you earlier, even more agile. And then this predictive function. Well, at the moment there are no speed bumps here, but it's really so funny when you have a speed bump and the speed bump is really like sucked up by the suspension and the car is going straight. It is actually really interesting to just watch what the lights are doing. can be maybe also irritating, or is it maybe catching your attention? Here you can really see how the light is following the car basically, but just next to it, you know. So that's really interesting. You activate or deactivate this auto function, by the way, by pressing the stalk column forward once. And here now, once again, right and left, high illumination, but not in the center of the vehicle. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really unpleasant here outside at the moment where we're driving up in Norway. I mean, yeah, 10 degrees Celsius. That's the same like in Germany. So at this stage here, as unpleasant as in Germany at this time of the year. Yeah, you know, our viewers from Norway would probably say like, hey, that's summer temperatures to us. Yeah, but you did have some great summers, right, recently. So maybe that has also changed for you then in this case. But it gives you here this very calm and relaxing feeling, and you just think like you could really ride all night and just stay super, super relaxed. That's, you know, and then maybe like, you know, activate seat massage and play your favorite seat massage stretch maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea, right? Stretch, or maybe I like the waves, definitely. The waves are, you know, waves are always great and high intensity, and yeah, hit your favorite music station and so on, and then enjoy your drive. Here you can see the difference, by the way, when there's no one in front of us. You see that here? High beam versus no high beam. Whoa. Yeah, pretty impressive indeed. Here one more time. Whoa. That really lights up the whole environment here. Wow. Look at that. Here again, the difference. See nothing. See everything. Oh, that small build-up. Let's see it once again. There we go. See that build-up here? Well, wipers once again. A little bit off-road experience here as well. Here. There we go. Whoa. That build-up is really a great show, and wow. Yeah, I mean, these headlamps are super expensive indeed. If you have the micro mirror option or not, that is not the most crucial thing. The high beam will be just the same, the micro mirror just for extensive function. So that is not the, you know, the crucial thing, but having the matrix LED for night rides, that's definitely so cool to have. Yeah, getting the full potential out of it at this moment.
Let's take a look at the updated Audi Q8, because recently Mercedes GLE and BMW X5 have been updated. Can Audi say something about this? What have they done? Let's take a look with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. Here with an upgraded front grille. When you have the S-Line, you have these L forms here in the front grille. Everything with more black design, especially if you have the optional black package, which this vehicle is also equipped with. The standard front grille would have more vertical fins on the inside. Then here the two-dimensional Audi rings. Audi goes for this new CI, corporate identity basically. Saphir Gold is this new color also. Saphir, this desert around the Bahrain racetrack. And yeah, this was the most fitting shirt I could find for you today. Updated headlamps also. So the logic here is normal LED, then matrix LED, and optional HD matrix LED with laser lights. And the latter ones you all can see here. And even in the front, you can already pick different light designs to individualize your vehicle. Towards the side profile, here the length has been unchanged, 4.99 meters or 196 inches. The Q8, as I said, typical competitor of the X5 or the GLE. Wheels now start already at 20 inch, up to 23 inch. These here are 22 inch wheels, so not the biggest ones, not the smallest one. Let's see how the riding comfort is. In the S-Line here also painted wheel arches. So in the vehicle color, the base version would come still with the contrasting wheel arches. In the black package, you also have the black mirrors here. Technology-wise, already the standard suspension is an adaptive suspension, so an adaptive steel suspension. Optional, also this vehicle is equipped with it, the adaptive air suspension. Of course, then you have a wider span between comfort and sportiness. And you also get a rear axle steering. Then the rear wheels you turn
up to 5 degrees in the opposite direction than the front wheels. The SQ8 would also offer an anti-tilt control and a sports differential at the rear. New tail lamp design and also OLEDs here in this lower part. Have you seen that? These are the proximity sensors in our studio shots where it was a little bit darker. You can even better see that, how it reacts. And even then in the rear, you can once again pick the individual light signature as design. I think it's a cool idea. Yeah, but then again, it's always an option, so the base vehicle won't have that. But the base vehicles will have this top update here also, and also this, this light strip that goes all the way across. Once again, two-dimensional Audi rings. And then in the lower part, the contrast, the Q8 logo here. This one means that is the S line, and the SQ8 would just have the added S dent. So what do you think? Do you like the outgoing model better, or do you like this refresh? And who would have thought that lights one day become a buying or purchase argument for individual brands? Audi wants to stress like, hey, we are the king of lighting, and that's why they also play once again here with these cascading turning indicators, at least in the highest trims. And even fancier it is actually here in the front. Look at that, with this segmented cascading, and a massive success for the Autogefühl fake exhaust police. Thank you so much in the name of the Autogefühl fake exhaust police for supporting it for all these years, because now Audi have switched away from fake exhaust to real exhaust tips once again. Since you also always ask about our locations where we film today, we are really lucky to film outside of Cape Town, so best greetings especially to our South African viewers today. And behind me is so-called Camps Bay. I think this beautiful beach here, so yeah, very fitting to our vehicle color today also. This is the car key here, slim and light, we know that. And look at here, the B-pillar. They have the model naming here now, not to have too many badges on the exterior, so the days of over-badging on the exterior is obviously gone. Then frameless doors with dual installation. Oh. There we go, door closing sound. So you see here, it needs more push actually because of the good installation here. And then it sounds really awesome. That's really rare that a frameless door sounds great. Inside of the door here with microfiber inserts, and I like this galvanization tip here for the window levers, and even they have a clicking sound here when you open or close them. Yeah, these deals I really love. S-line badge you can already see then in the lower part. So we also have S-line interior as well as on the steering wheel, perforation at the side. And these seats here are the best ones you can get actually for the Q8 with the microfiber, also with this special structure on the inside. These are the normal sport seats, and I would definitely go for them. But they're still lagging behind, especially in comparison to BMW, who is offering better materials. They're more sustainable, more animal friendly, and also better in the whole feeling and so on. But these ones are actually then the best. And seating comfort here with 189 or 6'2". A lot of headroom left. This is the one without panoramic roof. You can also get one. And you have good ergonomics, full-size SUV position. Yeah, really feeling it, definitely. Interior cockpit overview. The refreshing thing about this update is that it is not all new, because classic user interface here with the volume control, the steering wheel, then also physical controls to control the digital instruments. There we have some news. For example, when I hit the turning indicator, we have this nicer visualization on the inside now. And then we have this split screen. This is the top infotainment screen, and the lower part is for the climate unit. Yes, I do always prefer physical climate dials, but for a digital solution here, it is fairly easy to use. I don't quite get this new menu tile in the software. This looks to me confusing. This here is very obvious, and then you have just, for example, the car features, or you go back to the home menu, and here the Apple CarPlay integration, wired or wireless. And the same goes for Android Auto. An optional Bang & Olufsen sound system. Yeah, I think good sound quality. Not the most super spectacular ever, but actually very decent. In the middle console, I really like this large shifting lever, pretty cool. Then here, adaptive cup holders, very good build quality. And also here, the middle console with this cover, leather red, and then you fold it up and down like this. And here, you have space then for the smartphone connection, now all in USB-C. Well, I did find an issue here with the middle console. Look at that, this large thing here underneath. It is there that it has this, this effect that you can also fold this whole thing up and down a little bit and slide it forward at the same time. But the problem is, it's so large down there. When you have your smartphone here in the inductive charging pad, it does overheat because it has no cooling. Then you say, you know, I want to connect it with the cable, and then you connect it like this, for example, and then you have to say like, okay, where is the exact space for my smartphone, like this maybe, and then how does it fit when it's you know, modern large smartphone, and when you then would put it down, you would smash your smartphone, or then stuff like this happens. Yeah.
No, I'm not farting. It's that the seat is just too close to the middle console and it's squeaking. So either put it far away or add some fabric here on the outside.
Rear doors also frameless, and then you have this electric shade you can put up and down just by pressing the window lever one more time. This doesn't go down further, but here I think it's a very nice and elegant solution. When I sit behind the driver's seat when I'm driving, I still have enough legroom left. This platform is pretty cool, and then you can adjust the seating angle like here when you pull this lever. This is also the way you fold it completely down for the trunk, and you can also vary the trunk length like this if you want more trunk length, or here if you want most legroom. Even in the middle part you can sit very well. In comparison to the Q7, it's not too big of a compromise. Of course, the Q7 has a little bit more trunk space and so on. Yeah, and then possible 7-seater. And here in the middle part, you have a nice climate unit also for the rear. It is somewhat with capacitive BS, but then again, you also have at least some clicking sounds. Let's take a look at the trunk measurements, electric hatch, and then we have a good meter or 40 inches in width, and even a little bit more than a meter or 40 inches in length. Here, you can see I already folded one part. You can also split individually, but you have to do it from the rear. You cannot unfold them here. The only thing you can do is actually lower it for better loading in and out when you have the air suspension. And in the front part here, you have another small hole, for example, but yeah, you could also have a replacement tire there if you like. As for engines, in Europe you still get the 3-liter V6 diesel. This one here, worldwide the most important engine, the 3-liter V6 turbo petrol engine, 55 TFSI, 340 horsepower, 5.6 seconds is the acceleration figure. Standard quattro overdrive, that means an overdrive with a rear wheel bias. If you want it even quicker, then there would be the SQ8 with 4.1 seconds in the acceleration figure. From the acceleration figure, and that is then from this 4-liter V8. Acceleration. Plop, that was 0 to 80 kilometers an hour. Pretty quick, felt nice, also rear biased acceleration from the overdrive. The Lia meter was also active. Thank you for that. There's always really good to give you a sense of speed, especially if you do not feel the G-forces over the video. So here in the dynamic mode, the air suspension is also set a little bit stiffer and have more feedback from the road. And here when the road is very even, that's pretty cool. And we have beautiful roads here with a nice view. The thing is, when the air suspension is stiff here, in dynamic mode, and you have the 22-inch wheels mounted, yes, it feels cool and sporty. However, it is then also not the most comfortable experience when you're driving over some bumps. So that always depends then on the road condition. As I said, here is absolutely fine, you know, when it's not destroyed or something. But I feel this setup here, and especially with the bigger wheels, you do lose comfort. So you have to be aware of that. So that is definitely an SUV that does have this sporty focus here. Really nice reaction from the steering wheel here. No dead zone, whatever. So I have a very fine feeling for the car. I like that. So it feels very, very well balanced. The rear axle steering helps me when we're driving slower speeds and so on. And it's also not feeling artificial at all. Very good here also when I'm doing some slalom left and right. Once again, the balance and the feeling for the car, that is what is very, very good. And assistance systems here on this countryside road, which is even more crucial, because can this vehicle here keep the lane even if it's more in this bend? Here so far, pretty smooth. Now on the right side, I always keep the control of the vehicle. See here, this one car didn't get. Maybe it's also because one line is yellow, one line is white or something. So yeah, never trust 100% in it. And mainly it's used for Autobahn purposes. But I like to try it also here on countryside lanes, because the very, very good systems also do that then in this case here. It is a good system, yes, but you see at some point it also has its limits. When you, by the way, want to switch back again here, for example, you can click in the lower part. Not the best selection here to pick the driving modes, or then here like this, click on the screen. Yeah. Then here you can go to the comfort mode. In the comfort mode, then some more softness from the suspension then, and also the steering becomes a little bit lighter overall. So this is probably the everyday setting, I would say. It still feels sporty, and I would definitely set the suspension to comfort, because otherwise it just gets too rough in bumpy sections and so on. So to me the cool thing is always that although it's large and heavy SUV, because of the great balance, it always feels somewhat lighter and easier to control basically. Here we know at the really slow speeds I feel more from the rear axle steering, but considering it is in rear axle steering, it feels very natural how it reacts and so on. So I've always loved the driving feeling of the Q8, and the updated version here makes no difference to that actually. Yeah, for me it's always pretty strange, of course, here with the left-hand drive traffic, and in a way even stranger to drive left-hand steering wheel with left-hand traffic. Usually you have the other one, you know, like the right-hand steering with the left-hand traffic, and vice versa and so on. But I mean, yeah, after all you get used to that. It's all adding up to the experience. Changing the temperature, by the way, here while driving is not too bad. So as I said earlier, although it's digital, you can do it actually quite well also while driving. Although physical control always needs no looking at all. Brake feeling also really nice, so you know exactly what you're doing at any time, or when you want to control the volume and so on. I like this classic user interface of the vehicle. You can also use the shifting pedals here to shift down yourself, for example for engine brake when you're going downhill for a longer period of time, or if you want some more RPM, and then you can directly accelerate it out. Yeah, sound wise I have to say rather step downwards, but you know, with these new days particle filters, which are also great to keep the particles in, sound has been decreased. Again, for the US versions this will then be a little bit different. So if I could suggest something, I think although it has air suspension, sometimes in potholes too rough. So what can you do against it? I mean, even if you're in a comfort mode here, the only thing you could actually do is pick smaller wheels. Not even the biggest one on this one here, but I think 20 or 21 inches maybe then the best compromise, that you have some cool look still, but you just have a little bit more driving comfort. So my driving impressions here from Chapman's Peak Drive. If you are in the Cape Town area at some point, you should take this road, one of the most beautiful roads in the world, definitely. And here it's more about enjoying the scenic views, and the view outside the vehicle, from the inside to the outside, is actually pretty decent. So I have a good feeling of where the car is ending at every side, and that's not the same with all new vehicles, that you exactly know, have a feeling for the dimensions. But even if you look to the rear there and so on, or to the back mirror, there's no problem at all. And that also shows that the Q8, among this like almost SUV coupe segment, the X6 would of course also be a competitor, or the GLE coupe. The Q8 sits somewhat in between, I would say, but these true coupe silhouette SUVs, they have less overview than when you're sitting on the inside, but that's actually fine here with the Q8. Here also, when the vents are a little bit tighter, rear axle steering is helping me. Is also, by the way, a factor for parking in and out. Maybe you've heard that, just like there was a bump in the road. That's what I meant. You know, when I have an air suspension, I just want a little bit more comfort out of the vehicle. Yeah, but that's the only thing I can really criticize here. Yeah, and probably also the fuel economy. So we will drive it a longer period of time. But it really seems to be that although it's mild hybrid system here now for the 6 cylinders, the 8 cylinder does not have that. And although the, you know, like, it's not like the most fuel consuming engine of all time, and I know this engine for a very long time, but here obviously also when the AC has to work a lot, the consumption seems to go quite high, and we'll put it in the video description and in the comment below, in the pinned comment, and then tell you more about that. By the way, instead of choosing the driving modes, which sometimes can be complicated, you can just always pull the shifting lever here to the S shifting mode, and then you have a nicer acceleration immediately. That's actually pretty cool. And it's also an easy and quick way to, be a little bit more spontaneous with it and always pull it back. Also the sound feedback it gives you, right? And of course also clicking sounds and so on. Yeah, that brings me back to one of the crucial points, that the user interface is still really good and you know exactly always what you are doing.
So first of all, between sedan and SUV. In general, my experience is for family use, for person transport, so to speak, there, in general, the SUVs have advantages with the upright seating position, also more space, and then you also have the hatch opening in the rear where you can better put all the luggage in. Then again, on long journeys, and also when you go a little bit quicker on the motorway, the lower center of gravity in the sedan can actually be more comfortable and also a little bit more silent because it doesn't stand so much against the wind. With Mercedes, between S-Class and GLS, well, I love the styling of the GLS, especially now with the recent facelift. However, from the overall luxury experience, the S-Class clearly leads it. And also, if you look at the factories where they are being built and the reliability factor, there the S-Class also seems to score a little bit better. From the overall build quality also, it makes a better impression. As for the BMWs, I think it's a very tough choice. The new 7 Series has a really good Einsitzhöhe, listen and repeat, Einsitzhöhe. So this first plush seating comfort area, that is really special in the whole industry at the moment. I know no other vehicle where it's so plush in the very first centimeters actually with the new Veganza high-grade leatherette seats. That's really awesome. And the 7 Series also drives extremely well. Then again, the X7 also has something unique. It also offers very good animal-free materials and it somehow conveys this very spacious traveling feeling as well. So there, I really struggle to find a clear difference and a clear winner. I would rather focus on the aspect, what do you need it for? Then between Audi A8 and Audi Q8, there, especially the ride makes a difference. The Audi A8 rides so much more sophisticatedly. I just love driving the Audi A8. It has such a good air suspension. It sucks up the bumps you're driving over and so on. So there I have to say, especially from the sophistication of the ride, I would actually go for the Audi A8 than here in this case. Then again, for some, the separate closed trunk might just not be practical enough, especially for family purposes. And then overall, from the brands, at this moment, without being a BMW fan or something, we really have to say, if you combine all the factors, like how they drive, how luxury the experience on the interior feels, animal-free seating choices, and also the reliability rankings of the most recent results, there BMW leads it at the moment, and thus I would actually, for both cases, for the SUV and the sedan choice, at this moment go with the BMW 7 Series and the BMW X7. Which one would be your choice and why? Tell me in the comments, and also join us for more interesting comparison episodes.